Teams at the OHL Cup for semi-final action that didn't disappoint. Detroit HoneyBaked battled the Alliance champion London Junior Knights, while the GTHL finalists Toronto Junior Canadiens went up against Upper Canada College. HoneyBaked picked up where they left off in the quarters, outpowering London in a 5-3 win as their first ever OHL Cup appearance extends into Saturday's championship final. A highly physical second semifinal matchup came down to the dying minutes as standout underage blue liner Kate O'Rourke scored the game winner to send the Junior Canadiens to the big dance as they chase down their third title in the past 4 seasons. Get ready for Detroit HoneyBaked and Toronto Junior Canadiens on Saturday afternoon at the Mattamy Athletic Center.
The historic grounds of Maple Leaf Gardens set to host another championship game on this Saturday afternoon in Toronto, Ontario. Welcome everyone to the 2026 OHL Cup. Today it's the Toronto Junior Canadiens and Detroit HoneyBaked set to clash in the championship game for U16 supremacy. Good afternoon, my name is Mark McKelvey alongside Jack Moore. And Jack, when you dream of a matchup, you want it to be two heavyweights going head to head. I think it's safe to say that's what we've got here today.
Yeah, going through this entire season, if somebody told you in the OHL Cup Final it would be Detroit HoneyBaked and the Toronto Junior Canadiens, nobody would have batted an eye about this. These are two of the fastest teams in U16 hockey. They're two of the best teams in U16 hockey. They matched up once already this season, but these two teams know about each other. They know how the other plays, and HoneyBaked wants one more shot after that 4-1 loss in Oakville back in January.
Both teams undefeated coming into this moment here this afternoon. Let's take a look back at the highlights from Thursday evening's semifinals, and we'll start first with Detroit HoneyBaked going up against the Alliance champions, the London Junior Knights.
Yeah, HoneyBaked flexed their muscles early in this one, got up to a big lead, and it was too much for London to come back from. It was 5-1 at one point in that game, 4-1 after 2 periods of play for HoneyBaked, and then Ryan Beaulieu from the London Junior Knights with 2 power play goals late in the game to make the score a little bit more respectable, but a dominant performance by HoneyBaked.
In the next semifinal, this one right down to the wire between Upper Canada College and the Junior Canadiens.
Upper Canada College, the Silver Stick champions in Whitby back in November, going against the Toronto Junior Canadiens. And this one, like you mentioned, a tight game, 2-2 late in the third period. The Toronto Junior Canadiens get a big goal from a guy we'll talk a lot about later on in the broadcast, but a big game and a big win for the Junior Canadiens to get themselves into this championship matchup.
Both teams battle-tested coming into this moment. They've played a ton of hockey. One more big game here today. We'll meet our entire crew in just a little bit, but one member, he is ringside. That's Adam Dunphy.
Well, Mark, both of these teams come into this OHL Cup Championship Final with perfect 6-0 records. They both went 4-0 in the preliminary round to get themselves into the playoffs here at the OHL Cup. In the quarterfinals on Thursday, it was the Detroit HoneyBaked side coming away with an 8-3 win over the Markham Majors. They followed that up later in the day with that 5-3 victory over the London Junior Knights. The highlights of that game you just saw. After the Toronto Junior Canadiens went 4-0 through the preliminary round, they defeated the TPH side 4-1 in the quarterfinals, and then as you just saw in the semifinals, they got a 3-2 win over Upper Canada College thanks to the game-winning goal from Kate O'Rourke.
Well, Adam, that's the name. Kate O'Rourke potentially could be the next player to receive exceptional status into the Ontario Hockey League. And in a game like this, Jack, there are many players to watch, but we'll narrow it down to one on each side. And when you look at these hockey clubs, I think of high-end talent. I think of an Austin Hall. I think of a Cash Kawaja. These players you'll notice right away.
Yeah, these two guys are absolutely phenomenal for their respective sides. And as we look for Austin Hall first, he's been a monster all series long and all tournament long for this HoneyBaked squad. 5 goals, 7 assists for 12 points. He is tied for the most points by an American-born player on an American team. And for Cash Kawaja, he's been phenomenal all season long. A guy that has gotten a lot of notoriety as this season's continued. We've heard his name all throughout the course of the year by the scouts, but this is an incredible young man, an incredible young hockey player with tons of skill and speed, and a guy that Justin Tickle, the head coach for the Junior Canadiens, has a lot of praise for.
Felt today when we went down before the game towards the dressing rooms talking to both coaches, everyone is super focused. These clubs have played a ton of hockey all season long, but for Detroit HoneyBaked, it's been a ton of hockey over the last couple of weeks. Yesterday was an off day. You have to wonder if that either gets them out of rhythm or a much-needed off day.
Yeah, a much-needed off day for them coming into this championship game. They had 6 games in 3 days. They played 2 Tuesday, 2 Wednesday, 2 Thursday in the quarters and the semifinals. They came to Toronto right from Green Bay from the U.S. Nationals, and right before the U.S. Nationals, they had the Michigan State tournament, which they beat Little Caesars in the final. They've been playing high-end, intense playoff hockey for about a month now, and this team is ready to go to cap it off with an OHL Cup championship. The only thing standing in their way is the defending champs, who want rings of their own at this age group.
All right, it's going to be a dandy here this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. We're getting closer to puck drop. Right now, we're going to turn things over for our pregame ceremonies to public address announcer Cam Sterling.
The referees for today's game are Colton Peak and Ryan Stiles. The linespersons are Omer Galal and Justin Robinson. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations
All right, we are set on a Saturday afternoon. Welcome inside the Mattamy Athletic Center. It is the 2026 OHL Cup Final. Detroit HoneyBaked against the defending champions, the Toronto Junior Canadiens. Mark McKelvey and Jack Moore up here in the broadcast booth, and you can feel the anticipation. Biggest game to this point for many of these hockey players.
Yeah, a lot of these young guys, you play in important games, you play in tournaments, you play in your league playoffs. For HoneyBaked, they got to the national semifinals, but this is the big tournament in front of all the scouts, the one that gets a lot of the attention, and this is the one that they're most ramped up for to close out the season.
Second meeting of the season between these hockey clubs. The Toronto Junior Canadiens did knock off Detroit HoneyBaked back in January in a tournament in Oakville, so HoneyBaked with a little bit of revenge on their mind, and what better time to do it than right here today in the final of the OHL Cup. We take a look at today's starting netminders, sparkling numbers on both sides of the equation. The Toronto Junior Canadiens, they've been in a good rotation, 1A, 1B situation, while Carter Nash has been the netminder to take the ball and run with it for Detroit HoneyBaked. Detroit HoneyBaked, this hockey club, as Jack alluded to, they've played a ton of hockey over the last month and all season long. What's left in the tank? Something tells me, though, they're going to be able to dig deep here today.
You had all season long to play these games and get ready for it. Now you're ready to go, and one more before you can take a rest before your summer begins for these young men.
Marco message between the pipes for JRC. Carter Nash for Detroit HoneyBaked. Here we go. Puck is dropped, and we are underway. Thanks for joining us. It's the final of the 2026 OHL Cup. And Detroit HoneyBaked donning the dark uniforms. We'll see Voigt knock it down. Side of the net, there's a spinning shot by Austin Hall that missed on the short side. Played out into the neutral zone. Looking for a big hit there was Ivan Belikov. The big Russian defender, stands 6'4", 190 pounds. Quite noticeable out there. As HoneyBaked will get in on the forecheck. Wide open here is Voigt. Voigt with the shot. Save made by Message. As he was square to the shooter. Not sure where the puck is for a moment. It's going to squirt back to the line. Lamontagne takes control as he comes down. Puts it towards the front of the net. JRC just trying to clear it out of harm's way. They'll find the loose puck. Cooper Ross played it up the wall and out into the neutral zone. Lamontagne will go back as Nash will leave it for him. Jacob Lamontagne takes a look. Poked out to the neutral zone, but an opportunity for JRC to try and come right back in. Perugini was almost on it. Now to the far side. LePan was there as he was trying to jump up into the play. Steered down into the Detroit zone, and there is LePan back behind the net, and he'll play it around. Highly touted defenseman for Detroit HoneyBaked. Frida throws the body on Perugini. Holding on to it is McElmurray, and he'll go back. Bit of a feeling out process, despite the fact these teams have met once before, going all the way back to mid-January. Icing is waved off. Going back behind the net to take control is going to be Cove Long. He tried to go against the grain. It was blocked by McElmurray. He was looking out in front, and now it is controlled there by Zinke. Zinke had a glorious scoring opportunity in the semifinal as this puck is tossed in on net. Nash will hold on. We'll get our game's first stoppage.
You mentioned there, Zinke had that great chance in the semifinal. Cato O'Rourke ended the game for the Toronto Junior Canadiens, but we look at our keys to the game. For HoneyBaked, it's no room to breathe. You can't give JRC too much time to create in the offensive zone, and they need to stay in control. 7 penalties in that semifinal game against the London Junior Knights, and London scored all 3 of their goals in that game on the man advantage. Toronto Junior Canadiens are 6 of 18 on the power play in this tournament.
Discipline will certainly be key as there's a long stretch pass deflected in here. Ogre tied up on the end boards. Trying to pick up the loose puck was Rico Champagne. Junior Canadiens behind their own net. Arduini played it up the boards. There's a shot from the wall. It was blocked. Champagne gloves it down, tries to get the feet going, but he is just being pressed up against the boards. Now coming onto the scene, Anders Ogre, and he's tripped up. Detroit HoneyBaked was looking for a call. Coming the other way is JRC. It's Champagne trying to get it on through for Wang. Wide of the net and sent up the boards. Coming slowly to the blue line here. A touch pass that does not work out. As right on it was Braden Grima. Grima has been very noticeable all season long. Drop pass O'Rourke. Gets it back, fires, and that's off the shoulder of Nash. In transition comes HoneyBaked. Liam Voigt wearing number 23 here this afternoon. trying to reach in to steal the puck away from Cooper Ross. Nicely exits his own zone. Here's Cash Kawaja, our player to watch for the Toronto Junior Canadiens. Kawaja comes into today's game with 13 points. Not going to go for icing as coming out to play it was Message. And O'Rourke will calmly hold on to it before Ross sends a long pass up the middle that does not connect. So an icing call early on here in the first period. And this is what we thought. It might be a bit of that feeling out process.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about HoneyBaked's keys to the game. We talk about JRC, use your speed. Kate O'Rourke with that great chance, trying to score like he did the game winner in the semifinal and limit the transition. We've seen HoneyBaked break free a couple times, off a chance earlier. Junior Canadiens going for a change. Puck rolls out to the neutral zone. Odd man rush for HoneyBaked. So Junior Canadiens have to be mindful of HoneyBaked moving up the ice and transitioning from their own end. They need to make sure they're communicating and covering guys open in the offensive zone.
Face-off win and a quick shot fired by Austin Hall that was wide. Blake Stevens won that face-off for Detroit. Voigt, Stevens, and Hall out there trying to get something going in the offensive zone. Jace Vortman moves it over now to Long. Long will get it deep. Vortman trying to cycle it, but it's going to be cut off here by Hall. Hall on the outlet, and already looking to the bench for a change was Voigt. Not going to go for icing, and the Junior Canadiens will regroup in their own end. Stevens in on the forecheck trying to throw the body. Here's a cross-ice pass, handled and brought out now by Jace Vortman. He comes through center ice, plays it over to Cove Long. A return pass towards the front of the net. On it, though, was HoneyBaked, and Belikov will handle. Send it up towards center ice in the skates of McElmurray, who was trying to control. Perugini now. Good pass to get it up ahead. Here is Mason, and Mason got run over. Big hit thrown there just inside the blue line. Sparks it the other way. Frida gonna drop it off. Trying to return it to Cash McElmurray, who threw that big hit. Back to the line. A shot by Weaver didn't find the goal. Karam's out to the right point. There was Lepan to keep the pressure on. Mason sends it to the far side. That's going to allow Ryder Muir an opportunity. He'll reverse it behind the Junior Canadiens net. Stepping up is Weaver. That big size of the D-core for Detroit HoneyBaked certainly on display here early on as we're nearly 5 minutes into the OHL Cup Final. Junior Canadiens looking to break out. Deflected puck blocked. Knocked down was Kadoran. Here's Grima in the corner. In front of the net. Lepan's not going to take any chances. He skied it out. Opportunity here for Mitchell. Off the left wing. Mitchell with the shot. Save made. It's in behind. They score! Cleaned up by Reed Fallon, and Detroit HoneyBaked strikes first in the OHL Cup Final.
We talked about the transition game for Detroit HoneyBaked, and they break out of their offensive zone and work it up the ice. And like you mentioned, Reed Fallon finishing it off on the doorstep. But you see him come in, he uses Kate O'Rourke as a screen, and then that puck is stopped by Marco Message. It bounces behind him. Cooper Ross trying to dig it off the goal line, but Reed Fallon at just 5'4" gets his stick in there to reach ahead of Cooper Ross, and Detroit HoneyBaked with a 1-0 lead.
Tough one there for Message, who had no idea where the puck got to after making the initial save. And a heads-up play by Reed Fallon going to the goal to poke it home. Makes it 1-0. We'll see if JRC has a quick answer, as that's going to be just the game's first and second shot on net for Detroit HoneyBaked. Here's a shot and a glove save. Good follow-up save for Message. So 5 minutes gone here in the first period. A 1-0 lead for Detroit HoneyBaked. Time to go ice level once again. Here's Adam Dunphy.
Well, an early 1-0 lead for Matthew Romanowski and his Detroit HoneyBaked side, and they have just already made history by getting to the final here. They are the first American team to play in the OHL Cup Final, and they have been road warriors as of late. They've been away from home for 2 weeks now, so we have to make sure that we say hello to Matthew Romanowski's dad, Paul, who is watching this game today. On the other side, you've got Justin Tickle, head coach of the Toronto Junior Canadiens. He says preparation for this game is just the same as if it was any other game. And of course, the Toronto Junior Canadiens have already picked up a victory against Detroit HoneyBaked this year. That came back in January, a 4-1 win at a tournament in Oakville.
Well, thank you, Adam. As we continue on in this first period of play, A lot of emotions on both sides going into this contest. And both coaches pointing out these groups, for the most part, have been together for several years. And this, for a lot of them, will be their final minor hockey game as they advance up to the junior ranks. Here's Vortman trying to throw it towards the front of the goal. It's knocked down by Jacob Lamontagne, and he'll carry it up. Comes over the blue line. Long shot that didn't find the goal. Cove Long took a hit as he dropped it back into the corner for Perugini. Junior Canadiens not in a hurry here. Pass got by Perugini, and that's going to allow an opportunity for Moon to get to the loose puck. Goes to Cash McElmurray. McElmurray from a tough angle. Pad save made by Message, and the Junior Canadiens will relieve the pressure, sending it out. Belikov, smooth skater here. Check out that reach. Nifty move, another one, and a big hit at the blue line. Penalty to be called against the Junior Canadiens. Looks like Ivan Belikov is okay after that hit. But we're going to have our game's first power play, and it'll go to the way to the Detroit HoneyBaked.
Kneeing call going against Anthony Perugini, and he's seen Cash McElmurray and the big D-core of this Detroit HoneyBaked team throwing some hits in the early going of this one, and he took his shot, but just missed as Ivan Belikov was trying to sidestep the check. He goes to the box for a 4-minute minor for kneeing. So HoneyBaked gets the game's first power play, 33% in the tournament so far. They were 2 for 4 against London in the semis.
Big opportunity here to get an insurance marker early for Detroit HoneyBaked. False start on the faceoff. Lots of success on the power play for Detroit HoneyBaked. As you mentioned, Jack, the penalty kill for the Junior Canadiens has been solid, 80%. They do have one shorthanded goal. Braden Grima has that shorthanded marker. Faceoff 1. HoneyBaked sets things up on the man advantage. LePan to Hall. Hall the shot, and Cooper Ross deflects it out of play.
Good play there by Cooper Ross coming across and getting his body in the shooting lane. Hall was trying to pick the top corner, but Ross, the JRC captain, getting his stick there and deflecting it up and out of play. He and O'Rourke are the big D pair for this Junior Canadiens team, and they've been phenomenal all tournament.
Thrown out of the faceoff will be McElmurray. Stevens comes in on the draw, but it's won by the JRC, and Ross's clearing attempt looked like it might have gone up into the netting. Play carries on, however. Another opportunity now for O'Rourke, and his clearing attempt goes right off of Dozark. Hit him up around the helmet. Settles down, and they'll dig along the boards. LePan. Hall to Dozark, goes back with it. LePan over to Austin Hall, into the slot. One-time shot along the ice. Went wide of the net. Good puck recovery by the HoneyBaked, and Hall will bank the puck into the corner. Easton Dozark sends it back out to the line. Max LePan. Dozark, one-timer, and that was blocked. Guess who? It's Ross again on a block shot, and he clears it out.
Big, important piece for your defenders to get in the shooting lanes on these power plays. There's about a minute's gone by, but Ross and O'Rourke doing a good job to limit those chances for HoneyBaked as they were trying to create in the middle of the JRC zone.
Stevens left it for Dozark. Mid-blue line LePan over to Hall. Hall once again to Max LePan. He's mid-blue line. A floater to the net, and Message looks around the traffic. Saw around the screen and makes the glove save.
HoneyBaked's been able to get this power play set up, worked the puck around, and then the one clearing attempt early by JRC gets knocked down, and they keep it alive in the zone. They had a good look for Blake Stevens in the slot, but couldn't get it on net. But HoneyBaked's power play looks like it's comfortable at the moment, just trying to find that best chance to put one in and go up by 2.
Puck kept in at the line by Belikov, who's no worse for wear after taking that knee from Anthony Perugini, who sits in the box on the double minor, with it being that 4 minutes up on the board. Generally, you might see that top power play unit for HoneyBaked play the entire power play, but they'll step off. Second unit out there now goes to work. Liam Voigt digs away. Voigt from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, played all season with Florida Alliance, joining HoneyBaked for the tournament. He digs. That puck is just sealed up. Good work by the JRC to kill some clock, and the official will finally blow it down.
Talked about Liam Voigt joining this team and for this OHL Cup run, but you have to remember Henry Buttweiler and Dylan Delgado not in the lineup for HoneyBaked, and that's combined 260 points this season for this Detroit HoneyBaked team. They're missing 2 of their best forwards from this tournament, but everybody stepped up and continued to play. They battled injury all year. Everybody elevates when they're asked to.
Max Lepan passes it into the corner. Fanning on it with Stevens. O'Rourke is there. It pops loose, and Champagne not going to waste any time as he'll send it all the way down. Carter Nash comes out of the net, doesn't need to stop it. And Max Lepan, the captain for Detroit HoneyBaked, will start it up. Drop pass for him. Minute 45 to go in the double minor to Perugini. It's rimmed into the Toronto zone. And another clear for the JRC as they send it out. 5:15 to go in this first period. Max Lepan weaving. Closely watched here by Cash Quaja. Quaja, a terrific skater. Can play in all aspects of the game. Here's Austin Hall now trying to bust down the left wing side. Here goes Quaja shorthanded. Cash Quaja takes his time. Fortman open in front. Quaja on the wraparound, can't tuck it. It comes free, and it's corralled here by Hall. Down to a minute left in this power play for Detroit HoneyBaked. Hall, cross ice pass. There's Quaja, knocks his man down. Loose puck found by Fortman, and he sends it all the way down. As the JRC would have to think could gain some good momentum here if they can come away unscathed from this double minor to Perugini. 40 seconds to go. Lepan waiting on it as a line change is finished here by Detroit HoneyBaked. A long stretch pass up to Stevens. Stevens can't get it in deep. They'll have to tag up. Chance for Ross to pick it up. Mitchell coming at him, and Ross off the boards, down the ice. This has been a good-looking penalty kill for the JRC. LaMontagne sits behind his own net, watched by Zinke. Didn't have an avenue. He'll try the other way, now sends it. Far blue line, deflected in by Reed Fallon. What a time to get your first goal of the tournament. He opened the scoring. Fallon's on it again. Passes it out to Belikov. His shot off a skate comes towards Mitchell. Penalty about to expire. LaMontagne into the slot along the ice, and a great right pad save made by Message just as the penalty expired. So a job well done by the JRC as Detroit can't convert on the double minor power play. This is going to go now for icing with 3.5 minutes left in the first period.
Well, you talked about a good penalty kill by JRC, and then right at the end, that puck ping-pongs its way onto the net, and a great job by Marco Message to kick out that right toe and make the save as HoneyBaked was looking to go up by 2. 3:27 to go in the first period, and we'll be back after a quick break.
He was on skates at 2, started focusing on skills at 4.
Is this guy going to be a 6'2" player? No, but he's absolutely dynamic. It'll be fascinating just to see how he develops.
Centered in front, Marner! Scores! Holy mackerel! What a move! Mitch Marner opens the scoring!
Well, welcome back inside the Mattamy Athletic Center. First period continues here in the OHL Cup Final. 1-0 for Detroit HoneyBaked over the Toronto Junior Canadiens. 3:15 remaining in this first period. Just one shot on net so far for JRC. However, they did have to kill off a double minor. Now back to even strength. And we'll see if they can get things going as they look to go upstream.
And just one shot for HoneyBaked on that power play in 4 minutes of power play time. This is a JRC team who allowed a power play goal in the semifinal, but were 7 for 7 in their middle 4 games of the tournament on the penalty kill.
Derek Moon, the puck carrier. Quaja on the back check will lean in front of him. Here's Cash Quaja just in front of his own net, and he'll retreat behind the goal. Quaja dangerously comes in front of his own goal. Catanella now trying to get it out of harm's way. Derek Moon, the Fairfax, Virginia native, in pressing. He'll get some assistance now from Blake Stevens. Stevens sends it out to the line. LePan across, and there was Quaja as he jumps up into the seam. Now coming the other way. That's Perugini. Perugini goes into the corner, and he and LePan go crashing down on a collision there. So Perugini's been involved in a few collisions already in this first period.
We talked about Detroit HoneyBaked taking away time and space. Perugini coming up the wing, and LePan forces him off to the wall, absorbs the hit, but negates a chance for JRC in transition.
Stevens lost his footing, but he got the puck over to Dozark, who will dump it in. Message slows it down. And here's O'Rourke. Kate O'Rourke on the outlet to Wang. Over now to Champagne. Rico Champagne passes it on through. Diving back. A good play made by Stevens to take away a scoring chance. Now Hall banks it off the boards. He'll dash after it. O'Rourke guards him. Along the half boards, he stops up. Voigt chips it in. Austin Hall was going to try and dig away there, but a wise move by Littman to skate away from some pressure. And now it'll go rink wide over to Cooper Ross. He gains the red line on a dump in. It's punched into the corner and handled now by LaMontagne. His outlet pass nearly intercepted. Here's McElmurray. McElmurray stopped up, tried to leave it for Hall just inside the blue line. Junior Canadiens were trying to push the puck out. Couldn't get it at first. Here's Jace Vortman now on it. We go into the final minute in period number 1. Detroit HoneyBaked on a Reed Fallon marker. Lead at 1-0. The dump in deflects towards the net. Dozark trying to go high off the glass, just got it out. Touched the glove of Perugini, and they will call a hand pass.
Talked about it early in the game, these two teams trying to find their footing. It feels like JRC's started to find their step after killing off that 4-minute penalty to Perugini. But inability to get anything going in the middle of the ice in the offensive zone, and HoneyBaked has been relentless chasing down pucks and being physical and not giving much time and space to this Junior Canadiens team.
Braden Grima sent it in. Steered into the corner by Nash. Champagne. There's a big hit along the boards thrown by Grima. And it just got out over the skate of O'Rourke. He'll move it across to Ross. Junior Canadiens load up here for the final minute. Trying to get an equalizer, and the play is blown on and offside. And what's unique about this Junior Canadiens squad, maybe at the U16 level, is how many face-off formations they have. We just saw Braden Grima lining up at the back where generally you'd see the D. Cooper Ross slides up, and we heard they got tons of game plans like that.
Yeah, they don't like holding their guys to one spot on face-off. If you're a left winger, if you're a right winger, they like their forwards to be active and start in multiple different sets. And Cash Quaja had gotten a lot of notoriety throughout the week about starting in different spots, but they use everybody in those situations.
Here's Hall. Went for the shot, but fanned on it. O'Rourke bracing for the check. Takes a big hit, but he moved it off to Ross. Breakout develops now for the Junior Canadiens. They need to fire it down the ice, and they won't get it there as the horn sounds to end the first period of play. And sometimes that's just the way it goes in these big games. An unlikely hero to open the scoring for Detroit HoneyBaked.
Yeah, you talked about it. 3 assists in the tournament for Reed Fallon, but he gets his first goal of the tournament for Detroit HoneyBaked, and couldn't have come at a better time with him putting it home to give them a 1-0 lead through 15 minutes of play, and they go into the first intermission up by 1 against this strong Junior Canadiens team who weren't able to find their rhythm in that opening frame.
Just 2 shots on net in the opening 15 minutes for the Toronto Junior Canadiens. They'll try to get things in motion when we come back for period number 2. But before that, it's our first intermission, and that comes up on the other side of the break. You're watching the 2026 OHL Cup Final.
Take your game to the next level with the OHL Performance Development Program. Registration is now open for players born between 2009 and 2013. Join OHL coaches and staff for Sunday development sessions beginning April 26th and May 3rd in Kingston, Kitchener, London, Oakville, Ottawa, Sudbury, and Windsor. The program runs through June with 8 on-ice sessions focused on skill development, skating, and hockey IQ. Cost is $775 plus tax for skaters and $550 plus tax for goaltenders. Spots are limited. Register today at OntarioHockeyLeague.com.
Waiting, dropping, Suzuki. Posting in from space. Nick Suzuki. Drop shot! Suzuki! OT winner! Unbelievable!
Hello everyone, welcome back inside the Mattamy Athletic Center. I'm Troy Langstaff. We have Peter Curtis and Dana McKeel alongside you for the intermission here, and a lot going on, but gentlemen, we want to talk to you first about the magnitude of the moment, transitioning from Scotiabank Pond to the MAC and a longer warm-up. How much do you think that impacted the players' play here in the opening 5 minutes of this first period?
I think you look at the players were here almost 3 hours before game time. That's very unique. Maybe you're at a tournament, you stay at the rink. I think it takes a while to get those calm nerves to come down. The crowd's big, but I think the preparation may be over-prepared, and I think that kind of hurt the junior Canadiens early in the game.
And certainly picking up on that, the preparation for this game is long before this game actually started. That started a couple of days ago with the scouting reports on both teams and looking at individual players, more specifically matchups. So we'll see more of that as it plays out in the second and third periods.
Yeah, looking forward to what we have coming up. But before we get into the first period highlights, we're going to send it down to Adam Dunphy, who has an interview with our goal scorer, Reed Fallon.
Well, Reed, you picked a pretty good time to get your first goal of the tournament. It's the only one in that first period. Overall, how would you assess Detroit HoneyBaked's play in the opening 15 minutes?
I thought we were good. I thought we were getting deep, pucks in deep. I thought we were working hard. I thought we were being physical. And yeah, 2 more periods to go. We're ready to bring it.
Now, offensively, you got the goal. Defensively, your team very strong, only allowing 2 shots in that opening frame. What was the secret? Obviously, you got that 4-minute power play that helped, but still, what's been the key to your defense so far?
I mean, this is almost like our 80th game, so it's definitely helped. Our D have a lot of good chemistry, and yeah, it's been good.
You mentioned it's almost your 80th game. It's been about 2 weeks now since you guys have been home. How homesick are you getting?
Just a little bit. Not too bad, though. I like being on the road.
So you got another 2 periods to go here. What's going to be the message from the coaching staff for the next half hour?
Just keep putting pressure on them, keep working hard, and good outcomes will happen. Just keep working hard.
Reed, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Reed Fallon, the only goal in an opening frame. Detroit HoneyBaked has a 1-0 lead on the Toronto Junior Canadiens after the first period of play, as we go back now to our panel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam. Almost 80 games, that is a lot of hockey, but a lot of time to build really good chemistry. And guys, we'll get in these first period highlights, but what did we notice in that opening 15 minutes? What did you see?
I think HoneyBaked's got the speed, and that's creating a lot of issues for the junior Canadiens defense corps. They get on you as soon as the puck drops, and that's a big adjustment that JRC have to make.
And certainly picking up again on those matchups, as well as looking at line substitutions, and JRC looking at single substitutions, but also mixing it up with full line on the fly substitutions. And I think we saw that with the Fallon goal right there with Detroit HoneyBaked.
Yeah, Reed Fallon with a good shot through his screen, off the blocker, and just able to get behind Message, and that chance late in the period as well with a good pad save. JRC is certainly going to want to get some more shots in the second period as we take a look at our stats after 15 minutes. 1-0, shots 5-2, as Adam mentioned. A long power play time for Detroit HoneyBaked, so JRC's not much time to get shots in the offensive zone. 0 for 2 on the power play, like I said, and Fallon with the lone goal. Now, there's a lot of storylines coming into this final. We're looking at the JRC's program, the opportunity to go back-to-back here at the OHL Cup. Detroit HoneyBaked in their first appearance at the tournament, but a player and an individual that a lot of scouts have had their eyes on all week long is a 2011-born Cade O'Rourke. Had an incredible tournament so far. I got 30 more minutes left to play to make an impression, but what do we like about Cade O'Rourke's game?
I mean, we talk about the physical aspects of playing the game. He doesn't look like he's a year younger than everyone else, but I think it's playing defense and you're playing up a year is a lot harder than being a forward, because you're on the last line of defense there, right? And he does not look out of place at all. And I love the fact when you talk to his teammates, there is no hype about him. He's just like, oh, I'm just going to go play a hockey game. There's nothing there in the room that would turn off a teammate, and I think that's a big part here, especially at AAA. There's a lot of egos at stake. It's your OHL draft year, and he's been just one of the guys, which has been great.
Yeah, certainly picking up on the GTHL top prospects game back in January, and Peter you and I saw him firsthand and what he can do, and then he brought that over to Peterborough with the Ontario top prospects, and he showed that he can play with the big players at the big time. But what a way to step into the lineup when you're a player of that caliber at that age with a team that's a defending champion of this tournament.
Yeah, he's been really making an impact this tournament as well. As we take a look at some of his goals over the course of the tournament. 10 points from the back end as an underager. Now, we've seen underagers perform at the OHL Cup before, but at this clip, at this rate, especially from the back end, are you surprised at all that he's doing this?
I see a pro hockey player there. That first goal showed he adjusted his shot angle. He didn't just blast away. He's got hockey IQ. But we've seen him for 4 years here in the GTHL. We know that he's got the skill. He belongs. It's not like he showed up for 1 year and got by with a little bit of luck. That shooting angle never existed until he saw it and said, I can go over a goalie's shoulder into a little box. So there's nothing that's surprising me about his offensive abilities at all.
Yeah, even looking at his celebration after popping that goal, that was a short corner shot, and he's got a penchant for doing that in previous games we've seen. And certainly the celebration thereafter, he's got it down to a T.
And not one other defenseman on that list, guys. That tells you how great he has had an offensive ability to get his team going.
Yeah, and look at the names on that list. Michael Misa, Shane Wright, Connor McDavid. Are you kidding me? Big players pick up their game at this tournament, and we've seen that from Kate O'Rourke so far. And yeah, the confidence to be able to shoot that puck in that semifinal game from an impossible angle like that and score at that point in the game, unbelievable. Another talented player for this Toronto JRC's squad, there's a lot of them, Cash Kawaja. He led the tournament in points through round robin play, has added 4 more through the quarterfinal and semifinal, but another impressive player from the JRC squad.
I love what he does offensively, but maybe the highlight pack won't show you what he can do on the forecheck or defensively. I mean, Dana, here's a guy where we talk about what's a two-way player, what do you need in the playoffs? Cash can get up the ice, and he's got a great Cash there, but he can also get back and help defend as well.
Yeah, no question about it. When you count on offense, you also count on defense with him. He's scored 13 points throughout the tournament, but you also count on that defensive asset that he is to Justin Teagle's lineup. And certainly he's an inspiration both on and off the ice to the entire JRC lineup.
He is very good as well. And now, after this highlight pick, yeah, I love a good graphic like this when we come up with a good name. And not only with a good name, but 2 players that actually have had incredible impact on their teams in this tournament. Cash McElmurray has 8 points so far in this tournament. We've already talked about Quadra's results as well. But Cash had a big goal in round robin play, tying the game against Hill Academy, who we could talk about them forever as well with Tanner Adams, but Cash McElmurray scoring that game late, allowing HoneyBaked to win in overtime. But what do we like about Cash and the rest of this HoneyBaked squad?
McElmurray wins faceoffs, and I know fans don't think they're a big deal. We yell at the linesman, just put the puck down. This guy's clicking at almost 65% of his faceoffs, winning them. Think about it. You know that you're going to get the puck 6 times out of 10 when he goes out to take a faceoff. A great advantage, and yeah, a great offensive player. Those numbers don't even compare to his regular season numbers. He's been kind of quiet here, and when you say quiet, 8 points in 6 games is quiet by his standards.
Yeah.
Certainly looking at his +7 as well on the ice, that makes a statement to the rest of the team that they can count on him offensively and defensively.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to watch. 30 more minutes to go. Coming up after the break here at the 2026 OHL Cup, we have Adam Dunphy interviewing our U16 Players of the Year. More coming up here.
More than just a game.
Schaefer sprung loose and he scored!
On the ice, the OHL is the #1 provider of talent to the National Hockey League, developing the game's next stars. Off the ice, giving back matters. Since 2010, OHL teams have invested over $41 million in scholarships and raised nearly $8 million annually for charities in minor hockey, shaping futures beyond the rink. Excellence on the ice, opportunity beyond it. The Ontario Hockey League, where the journey begins.
Welcome back inside the Mattamy Athletic Center. 1-0 Detroit HoneyBaked leads Toronto Junior Canadiens after one period here in the OHL Cup Final. Of course, this is the end of the season for these players, and very pleased to be joined by a pair of players who had outstanding minor midget seasons. I have Tayden Smith from the Sudbury Wolves U16 team, and I have Kyler Lauder from the Central Ontario Wolves. Lauder was the Player of the Year in the OMHA East Division, while Tayden Smith was the NOHA Player of the Year. And Tayden, you got a taste of this OHL Cup tournament with the NOHA All-Star team. What was the experience like for you?
It was really fun playing against high competitive players all week long, and it was just fast-paced, good hockey.
Now for you, Kyler, finishing off an outstanding season. Overall, what would you say was the highlight for you this year?
I definitely say the Marlies tournament was a good one, and the Early Bird. I really enjoyed those two tournaments, and yeah, it was fun.
Now, Tayden, you were in a bit of an interesting position this year because the NOHA is essentially an all-star team of the Northern Ontario Hockey Association. So the rest of these teams, they've played with these players, the same players throughout the season, whereas you had to get used to a whole new set of teammates. What was that like?
I mean, it was hard the first couple games we had, but by the end we just gelled together like a regular team and just played our hearts out.
And did you know a lot of these players, considering you've played against a lot of them in your regular season? Did that make things easier?
A little bit easier, but throughout the year we had showcases together, but it was hard, but we got used to each other real quick.
Now, of course, once your minor midget season comes to an end, you look forward to the OHL draft, and what's going through your mind leading up to that?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Worked for it all year, and it's a dream come true to be drafted, and yeah, so excited.
Now, you've got the in-person draft returning this season. Will you be in Kingston for it, or what's your plans right now?
Yeah, I'll be in Kingston for the draft. Yeah, be a fun time.
Now for you, Tayden, it's a little farther for you to come, Kingston from Sudbury, but just looking ahead to that draft, how excited are you?
I'm very excited. Hopefully I get to go in person, and my parents will take that opportunity to drive down and take the time for me.
Well, congratulations to both of you on outstanding seasons. We have an outstanding game here in the OHL Cup Final so far. Detroit HoneyBaked leading the Toronto Junior Canadiens 1-0 after the first period, with a second period for you on the other side of the break.
Starting in 2025-26, the OHL has one streaming home, FloHockey. Every game, every goal, every moment.
Backhand scores! Take a bow!
From the Connor McDavid OHL Top Prospects game to the chase for the J. Ross Robertson Cup, it all streams live or on demand.
The Knights have gone back-to-back.
The stars of tomorrow are here. The O on Flo.
Belchez in on goal, scores! The number one pick is on the board.
Well, welcoming you back inside the Mattamy Athletic Center, moments away from starting period number 2 in the 2026 OHL Cup Final. Mark and Jack with you. And Jack, I think it's probably no secret that JRC wouldn't be thrilled with that first period, but when you come away from a first period like that, just down by 1, there's certainly lots of time to work with.
Yeah, it definitely felt like HoneyBaked pushed the pace in that opening frame. They had the control of the game, and that's something that the Junior Canadiens want to get back into this second period. So for HoneyBaked, it's doing a lot more of the same. They were very physical off the jump. They used their speed. They closed gaps. They weren't allowing the Junior Canadiens a ton of time and space. And for Toronto, it's about adapting to that. And where can you find those chances? How can you adjust at that first intermission? You get the flood, you get the 15 minutes of break time. How do you come out into the second period and adjust your game and allow yourself to create a little bit more? These are two of the most offensively talented teams in the tournament. Junior Canadiens have been one of the best defensive teams, only allowing 6 goals in 6 games coming into this final. but how can you find a way to beat these elevated teams and win a championship game against a quality opponent here in Detroit HoneyBaked?
Just 5 shots on net in the first period for HoneyBaked, which is on par with what the junior Canadiens have been giving up over the course of the tournament. Their opponents are averaging just 15 shots on net per game, while they've been averaging 28 on net. So they'll look to pick it up here as we're set to go for the start of period number 2. A 1-0 Detroit HoneyBaked lead on a Reed Fallon marker, coming just a little over 5 minutes into period number 1. So the second period begins. Thanks so much for joining us here this afternoon from the Mattamy Athletic Center. The final of the OHL Cup. All the marbles on the line. Puck deflected down the ice by Hall. Hall had to roll off his stick as he thought about a quick shot. Comes out to Belikov. Belikov, he lets it go. Hit a body in front. Grima will pass it out to Quaja. Cash Quaja brings it in, 2-on-2. Quaja on the fresh ice. Everything sliding there smoothly, and it came off his stick. Ross kept it in at the left point. Jumping off the bench is going to be Zinke. And Zinke gets sealed up to the boards by Belikov. Here's O'Rourke now off the half wall. Fires from a sharp angle. Blocker save made by Nash. It was a sharp angle shot late in the semifinal by Kate O'Rourke that punched the JRC their ticket to today's final. O'Rourke went for a change, so too does Cooper Ross. They battle away with Vortman in the corner. Stevens was on him. Here's Cove Long. Pops free. Zinke gets it out. There's a shot by Littman over top of the net. Vortman was looking back to the blue line, but it was picked off. Long change here in the second period. Austin Hall will take advantage of the puck coming out as he went to the bench. Now LaMontagne swung it cross ice, and here's Perugini. Perugini delays and now cuts. Throws it out in front. They score! Jackson Zinke gets the reply for JRC, and it's 1-1.
Well, for the first time today, the JRC have won that battle in front of the net, and Jackson Zinke, parked in front, gets his second of the tournament, and it's a great play by Anthony Perugini. A left-handed shot defenseman comes off the right wing boards and throws it in front, and he sees Zinke parked there. He wins the battle with his man, and JRC have tied this game at 1, just a minute 30 into this second period.
And that certainly gets the crowd going here. Very pro junior Canadiens, to no surprise. And there's a quick save by Message as he gloves it out of the air. Perugini, who took the double minor in the first period, probably was sweating it a bit in the penalty box, but he steps up here early in the second.
Well, you come into these games where it's a one-game winner-take-all, not a long series like JRC had in the GTHL final against the Vaughan Kings. You have one game to win it. When you have something like that, the 4-minute double minor for kneeing, go against yourself, but your teammates pick you up, and then you create the chance that goes the other way to square it up at 1, and we're all reset here.
Wang with a long shot that was wide of the goal. Back out to the point. O'Rourke over to Ross. Ross, middle of the ice. Grima, O'Rourke, and a save made as he got a good look there from the top of the circle, and Carter Nash able to make the stop.
Well, that's a great look there for Kate O'Rourke. Top of the far circle, right-handed shot. Talked about him potentially getting exceptional status into the OHL priority selection. And you just see the whip on his stick, how much he puts into that. Not the biggest guy, but for someone who turned 15 this calendar year, he puts a lot of force in behind that, 6'1", 175 pounds, and got a great look. He's been putting pucks on net early in this one for JRC, who have piled up some shots in the early going of this second period.
10 points in the tournament coming into today for Kate O'Rourke. Ross goes across to the aforementioned Rourke. Shot towards the net, deflected on. Save was made. Hall able to muscle the puck out into the neutral zone. Voigt was trying to go back to him. Now Ross sending it up to the far blue line to Grima. Braden Grima in pressuring as he was trying to steal it away from LePan. Blake Stevens across the red line will dump the puck in. O'Rourke peeks over both shoulders. Goes against the grain turnover, however. Stevens was able to sniff that one out. Good work, though, by Ross to get the puck right back for JRC. Joins the rush on a 3-on-2. Kadoran off the half boards. Ross along the ice. Save was made by Nash. Kadoran cuts it off in the corner. And he gets wrestled up into the boards. Here's Rico Champagne. Chips it down low, trying to throw the body. He digs away. Gets a little bit of assistance behind the net, helping him out there. That was trying to help, at least, was Lucas Wang, but ultimately it's going to be HoneyBaked the other way. Mitchell pulls up on the half boards into the slot. A backhander in front of the net. Save was made. Message with the left pad got a piece. Catanella. Stolen by Mitchell. Mitchell into the slot. Finding control. That was Ogre. Here's a high shot and blockered out of play. Message isn't going to catch it off the netting, and he holds on as the netminder's already a little bit busier here in the second.
Yeah, we're seeing these teams just starting to put more pucks on net. We talked about the feeling out process, and we spoke with Justin Tico before the game. You know that he would have had a conversation with his team about creating more space, getting more chances, and JRC's come out more physical in this second period. Alessandro Kadoran, 5'9", 150 pounds, throws a hit on Anders Ogre, 6'3", 200 pounds, who stands out as a big guy on the ice, but Kadoran wasn't shying away and trying to create some spark for his JRC team.
And there he was going to the net, was Ogre, as he was trying to get in there with his reach. Max Mitchell on the faceoff for HoneyBaked. Faceoffs were even through the first period, 6-6, but already an advantage here for JRC in the second. Zinke, the goal scorer. Ogre got a shot off, stopped by Message. Ogre continues to dig away. Perugini won the battle. It's chipped off the boards by Vortman, and ultimately he's able to poke it out. Zinke now gets it, a 2-on-1. Zinke passes across, and what a diving play made by Le Pen as he read that one beautifully. Took away what would have been a 2-on-1 for Long. And the goal scorer, Zinke. Now Zinke has to go through his skate. Dozark gave it off, and it's dumped in here by Fallon. And everybody lost sight of the puck because it ended up inside the Detroit bench.
Talked about that play by Le Pen. As he comes across and dives that away, he broke up another play against Grima, who had the puck go off his toe, but Le Pen didn't panic. He just stayed with him, forced him off to the corner, and negated a chance for JRC the other way. Captain of this Detroit HoneyBaked team, and you look at the size of these defenders. We talk about limiting time and space for the JRC. Big bodies, 3 defensemen at 6'4", and the smallest one is Suppley at 6 foot, 160 pounds, and he's the puppy on the team in terms of size.
I cannot recall seeing a U16 team with this kind of size on the blue line, and they're going to use all that size and length, as we just saw moments ago by Max Le Pen, the Livonia, Michigan native. 9 points coming into today's game. Put up big numbers throughout the course of the year.
93 assists in 77 games, 115 points. He had a phenomenal season, and a lot of scouts drooling over him as a first-round potential player in this upcoming OHL priority selection.
Yeah, I guess 90-plus assists is big numbers, no doubt about it. As Le Pen got a lot of options up front when he can move that puck out. LaMontagne will take it, spins the puck over to Belikov. Sent the puck out, finishing his hit. Coming across was Grima. Now sent all the way in from center ice, and Message isn't going to mess around here. He'll just hold on to it. Another ozone face-off coming the way of HoneyBaked.
Talked about Max Le Pen. Finish off that point. Cousin Brooks Rogowski, playing in the OHL, was a high school hockey player, got picked up in the second round by the Oshawa Generals, elected to come to the Ontario Hockey League, and Le Pen, who was a potential player for the U.S. National Development Program, doesn't get named to the team and might look at the OHL as the premier avenue to go to as he fires a shot on net.
Got it on through. A left pad save was made by Message, who has really settled down after that game's first goal. Now the other way comes Vortman. Vortman was trying to duck underneath, looking to get around Liam Weaver, who pinned him up on the boards. HoneyBaked will break out, and here is Le Pen. Overskates it for a second, and now will send the puck in. It's a delayed offside, so Stevens will have to flee the zone. And JRC stack up, and they look to come upstream. Jace Vortman, middle of the ice here, Long. Cove Long, his shot, that one was off a leg. Gets his own rebound, however. Slipped out to the blue line. Looked like that puck just came out, and it did. An offside call as Arduini was trying to step up into the play. A little over 5 minutes gone here in period number 2. A 1-1 game as the Toronto Junior Canadiens, thanks to Jackson Zinke, have tied things up. So with 9:16 left in the second period, both teams get an opportunity to catch their breath, and that gives us an opportunity to go ringside to Adam Dunphy.
Well, Mark, Toronto Junior Canadiens defenseman Cade O'Rourke has applied for exceptional player status, and if his application is approved, he will be allowed to enter the OHL as an underage player. If his application is approved, he will be the 10th player in CHL history to get exceptional player status. The first was John Tavares, and he was drafted first overall by the Oshawa Generals back in 2005. Who has the first pick in this year's OHL priority selection? Well, it's the Oshawa Generals. So will history repeat itself? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, thank you, Adam, and we're expecting an update on that in the very near future if Cade O'Rourke will be granted exceptional status, and kind of fitting that the 10th player could go to where the first player did.
Yeah, he's had a great season playing up since moving to Toronto from Round Rock, Texas, and fell in love with the game playing for the Dallas Stars minor hockey program and with the Texas Stars in the American Hockey League going to their games as a youngster.
Well, Cade O'Rourke, it's a name to remember, as driving down the left wing side. McElmurray was trying to get it off the boards towards the middle of the ice. LePan stepped up as he came down the wall. Sends it across. Held on here by Dozark. A lot of bodies in front of the net. Couldn't get that shot through. Now cycled by McElmurray, but cut off and flipped off the boards and out as Grima then gave his man an extra shot, and we're going to have a penalty called as the HoneyBaked are going to get their third power play of the game, and Braden Grima will take a seat. Or no, it's going against HoneyBaked. So the arm went up. Grima thought he was getting a penalty based on his reaction, but it's actually interference going against Dozark.
Yeah, they're calling this one against Easton Dozark, who was in the skating lane of Braden Grima, but Grima was the one who had the check to Dozark, and Toronto Junior Canadiens will go to the power play for the first time in this one with a chance to take the lead after they tied the game earlier in the second from Jackson Zinke's second of the tournament.
They win the face-off. Quaja goes over to O'Rourke. Cash Quaja, middle of the blue line. Passes it to Champagne, top of the circle. Trying to get it down into the corner for Grima. Coming in to help is Long. 3-on-1 there. They do come away with it. And a glove save made by Carter Nash. So our first look at the power play for the Toronto Junior Canadiens, and they've got several options.
6 of 18 in the tournament, 6th best in the OHL Cup, but you talked about all the options. We've talked about Cash Quaja, we've talked about Cade O'Rourke, but Braden Grima has been a guy who's been a pace horse for this Junior Canadiens team, and you see him making something out of nothing with skates and sticks in the lane, pulls it through the legs, and then fires a shot up high, and a great stop by Carter Nash.
LePan does clear it out as he rimmed it around the board, so the Junior Canadiens will head back. And how about Austin Hall here trying to put a little pressure on while on the PK. Skating it up ice is Cade O'Rourke. Glides across the blue line, pulls up, and the JRC will set up the power play. Cash Quaja. Quaja goes back to O'Rourke. Quaja gets it again. They keep it high. Go back and forth. Quaja, O'Rourke deflected. O'Rourke settles, trying to come on through. He's upended by Hall, who went for a diving block, and Cade O'Rourke is down, grabbing onto his left knee at first, and he is yet to get back to his skates. Just getting up now.
Saw some people throw their hands up wanting a call in the building. They didn't get it, and Cove Long was the one who thought he was going to get that pass. It created a lane for Cade O'Rourke, but then Austin Hall comes sliding across and takes out the legs of O'Rourke, and he goes down, makes his way onto the bench, but you can tell he's clearly in some discomfort as he goes off. Big piece on the back end for this Junior Canadiens team. just about midway through this game and still on the power play for over a minute.
Quaja takes the puck, and he'll start it from deep in his own zone. Cooper Ross replaces O'Rourke on the top power play unit. Cash Quaja, stick handles, gets to the middle of the ice and shoots. Glove save made, but there was a rebound there. Grima was looking for it. Lamontagne tried to take it to the boards. It's sent back to Ross, over now to Quaja. Fans on the return pass. Rosso hustles to it. Quaja back to Ross. They go cross ice. Grima tosses it back. One-time shot, Quaja misses short side. Grima gets the loose puck, goes back to Ross. Quaja again at the dot. Cooper Ross, Braden Grima, kept to the outside for the time being. They send it high, wrist shot on net, and another save made by Carter Nash with 23 seconds left in the JRC power play.
Yeah, the junior Canadiens doing a good job moving that puck around without O'Rourke on the ice and Cooper Ross taking over. You see Cash Quaja walking in. Junior Canadiens can't get a stick on the puck. Rico Champagne parked in front. And then another look at that Quaja shot and a good stop by Nash, who's been tested a little bit more in this second period. Inside from the tap-in by Zinke, he's been strong facing the pucks and making the first stops against the junior Canadiens.
Perugini gets it to the side of the net. Zinke passes it back out. Penalty down to 10 seconds remaining. Dozark standing up in the box. Kadorin didn't have an avenue, so he curls back. Ross holds it. He'll try and get it on through, deflected on net, and Nash, good job to keep that puck with him. No rebound, just as the penalty expired.
4 shots on that power play for the junior Canadiens. A good job on the man advantage, creating a lot of time spent in the offensive zone, but just couldn't get anything to go. And we're still locked at 1, but a good start to the power play for the junior Canadiens is you see a shot of the bench. At the other end of the bench, Cato O'Rourke went for a skate to turn around to test out that leg, and he's up at the door and looks to be feeling all right.
You'd have to think it would take something quite serious to hold him out of this game, as the JRC press fell down early in the contest, but they've tied it up here in the second. Shots on goal even now at 11-11. A face-off win for Rico Champagne. It's Littman. Passes across the blue line. Swinging high was Kadorin. Kadorin takes it down into the corner and left it. Passed back out to the point. On the spin is Perugini. Perugini trying to knife it on through. Fell to the ice. Hall trying to guard his man, and there's a big hit thrown by Kadorin. Loose puck. Perugini along the ice. Save was made by Nash. Went way up in the air. Finding control of it was Wang. Played to the side of the net, and a breakout here now for HoneyBaked. It's going to be Hall, the puck carrier. Lets a long shot go that went off the end boards. Here's Mitchell. Dozark fires. That one goes right behind the net. Trying to get it out in front quickly was Hall. He'll spin. Dozark calling for it. Hall opts to try and put it into the crease. Comes back to him, and he sends it out to the line. Supply's shot deflected, and just getting a piece of it was Message. Kept inside the JRC zone, and there's a sharp angle shot that tipped down, went right off the pad of Message. Kadorin on the high flip, and a collision in the neutral zone as Supply stepped up on Wang. Junior Canadiens at the end of a long shift will dump it in. Trying a quick counter now is HoneyBaked. The stretch pass goes off the stick of Moon. That'll negate any icing call. Ross goes against the grain, and O'Rourke is back out on the ice. So Kate O'Rourke, no worse for wear. He'll continue on. Ross up the middle. Grima didn't get a piece of it, and it's an icing call against the junior Canadiens, but a sigh of relief to see Kate O'Rourke back in the game.
Yeah, Kate O'Rourke checking back onto the ice, not missing a shift after going off on the power play, but another sigh of relief coming from the junior Canadiens after a great chance for HoneyBaked. Shot came on, it deflected off the defenseman Jude Littman, and then Marco Message wasn't ready for it, but it went off his left toe, bounced out, and the junior Canadiens were able to get the clear. A big bounce favoring JRC.
Jacob Lamontagne fires from the blue line, and Message makes another save. Message came into the game 3-0 in the tournament. Joined the junior Canadiens after playing for the Oakville Rangers a year ago, an Oakville native.
Oakville U16, this is his second year at U16, so a little bit more comfortable out on the ice this season with the speed and the skill of the players playing a year up a year ago. And now after an icing against the junior Canadiens, he'll have a face-off back in his end, but a really strong young goaltender, one of the top goaltending prospects for this upcoming OHL priority selection in Kingston in June. And after that first one went in, he's really settled himself down and played some good hockey down the stretch with just under 5 minutes to go in the second here, Mark.
Might get tested again. Belikoff from the line, and it's deflected out of play. You mentioned, Jack, the OHL priority selection coming up June 12th and 13th in Kingston. A return to an in-person format. Have to think the players are pretty excited about that. Should be a wonderful weekend.
Well, it'll be a great weekend. Kingston, a great spot, especially in the summer, down at the water. It'll be held at Slush Puppy Place, a beautiful building, home of the Kingston Frontenacs. So really excited to see how the in-person draft format works with all the teams and all the war rooms down on the floor and going through that process in person as opposed to individually placed in their home centers over the last 25 years.
Generally, the priority selection comes up just a few weeks after the OHL Cup wraps up. Won't be the case, so a lot of time to think about those decisions. As here is Cove Long trying to get some room. His backhander towards the net was broken up by LaMontagne. Getting a piece of a pass was Voigt, but he was on the wrong side of center, so we're running into a stretch of consecutive whistles here on an icing call to go back down to the Detroit zone.
These teams kind of got through that feeling out process in the first period, came out quicker, more physical here in this second, but sometimes you hit this stretch and it's about who's able to find that next gear, and the junior Canadiens throwing out one of their top lines is Braden Grima. We talked about where they start in different spots. Grima's going to start back at the blue line here to look for a zone play for the junior Canadiens. You look at this HoneyBaked team. You mentioned faceoffs earlier in the game. They were tied, but JRC's taken advantage throughout the course. That's been the biggest struggle in this tournament for the HoneyBaked team is winning team faceoffs with one guy over 50%.
McElmurray in the corner. Lost his edge. Coming in to help out now is Derek Moon. He was harassing and trying to force a steal. Arduini, speaking of young players, a 2011 birth year, playing up here today, getting a great experience in the final. Rico Champagne now trying to duck under Lapan, and Lapan just stayed strong on him there. Champagne couldn't get through.
Good job by Champagne to try and create some space and muscle his way towards the net. But we talk about that big physical decor for HoneyBaked, and talking to both coaches before the game, both talked about the speed of the other team, but Justin Tico, you just saw, talked about how big and physical this HoneyBaked team is, and you felt the respect both teams had for the other, knowing that they were going to be their best competition.
Save was made by Nash on the point shot, and he batted it into the corner. Dozark will get it up ahead. Fallon left it off for Easton Dozark, just onside. Dozark shot wide of the goal. Mitchell trying to hold it in, but a little too much steam on that puck, and it'll carry him all the way back down into the Detroit zone. Max Lapan sends it out. Ogre was there. Dozark, stick lift, has control, fires, and Message makes the save, backing up towards the goal line, and Dozark might have surprised him with just that quick wrister.
Good look there for HoneyBaked, getting the numbers into the offensive zone, and Dozark with 4 goals in the tournament, 4 assists. He's an offensive creator for this HoneyBaked team, and he walked in and fired a shot, and a good job by Message to cover it up. Dozark from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so he's already been drafted to the WHL, was traded from Swift Current to Portland, so his rights held by the Portland Winterhawks in the Western Hockey League.
Moved into the slot, Voigt with a spin, and Message kicks out the right pad. Junior Canadiens will skate it up. Long trying to do it himself. Stopped up at the blue line, so they'll regroup. Jace Vortman opts to send it back to Littman. They'll hold in their own end and now make a pass up the right wing side. Zinke got a piece of it. Here's LaMontagne. Goes off the boards, a turnover. Zinke on the steal, shoots, and it was blocked. Got it back, fires again, and that one was off of a stick and into the corner as Jackson Zinke's been all over it here this afternoon. Zinke has to get back on D. Hall puts it at the net. Message made the save. Puck sat there for a moment. A little confusion as Vortman, the forward, was back trying to help out. Now Stevens digs in the corner. Gets some help here from Voigt. Liam Voigt goes back and forth. 1 against 2, and the junior Canadiens will pry it away. Perugini got it up to Vort, and Vortman will send it out. Down to 2:18 left here in the second period, a 1-1 game. Icing call coming up against Detroit HoneyBaked. Faceoff will come all the way down.
Talked about it a few times, but finding that rhythm, HoneyBaked getting some looks in the offensive zone. Jackson Zinke was looking for his second of the game for the junior Canadiens, got 2 good looks. His first shot got blocked, put the second one wide, but being able to create and try and get something to go here as we're knotted at 1, and very typical of what we thought coming into this game would happen at this point. These two teams defensively sound and ability to create, but going against each other, 2 of the better teams at this level in the country.
There haven't been many odd man rushes. Quaja hit by McElmurray. Puck sits there. Grima tried to get on it. Quaja has it with a shot, and Carter Nash made the save. Quaja was digging along the boards. Champagne as well. Dumped in, but I believe on the wrong side of center it is, as McElmurray was trying to send it ahead for Frida to chase it down. So another icing call against HoneyBaked, and they can make a change here in the OHL Cup, unlike the Ontario Hockey League, so they'll send out a couple of new troops.
Well, you saw Cash Quaja dancing through the offensive zone there, trying to create. Cato Rourke out with Cooper Ross on the back end, and junior Canadiens again putting out their big guys, leaving them on the ice for this offensive zone draw.
They don't get the face-off, and HoneyBaked will clear it. Going back to control, Braden Grima to Cade O'Rourke. O'Rourke gets the feet going as he's being hassled by Moon. He dumps it in on the backhand. Grima's on it, put it in front, and that one almost pinballed in. I don't think he realized there was no teammates there, but there was plenty of skates nearby. Now Grima intercepts. He's knocked to a knee. Chance for Dozark to get it out. Lead pass. He spots Austin Hall. Hall had it come off his stick briefly, chases it down. Hall stops along the boards, in front, McElmurray, backhander, Message got the save. They try to jam it on home, the outstretched pad up against the post. Good opportunity there for Detroit. Cade O'Rourke will gallop over to a puck in the corner. Was able to get it ahead to Long, a return pass, 3-on-2. Champagne on the far side. Here's Zinke, back to Long. Long going across to Champagne, and he was upended by Dozark trying to jam one home. Across the blue line now. Perugini shot, tipped down, and that one didn't miss by much. It goes to the far boards. Good read there to step up to keep the pressure on by the junior Canadiens. And now they will send it all the way down the ice. Will HoneyBaked, and it'll be Ogre who goes in after it. He's by himself for the time being. A little confusion on the change for HoneyBaked. Jace Vortman sidesteps a check. Passed it up to Grima. 7 seconds to go in the period. Braden Grima was trying to get it out in front. Still with control. Back to the blue line. Sure. Catanella's got a shoot. Vortman off his skate. And the horn will sound to end period number 2. But the junior Canadiens got the response they needed as Jackson Zinke has tied the game with an early second period goal.
Minute 29 into the middle frame. The junior Canadiens on a cross-ice pass get the goal to tie it up. We saw them try it again on the back door for Champagne. He had a deflection that went wide. Austin Hall came streaking down the right wing side, but just had the puck roll off his stick. Another good couple of chances for McElmurray, and neither team can convert. 2 strong goaltenders, 2 really strong teams will go into the third period, tied at 1 in the OHL Cup Final, Mark.
Just what we were hoping for and what we thought might happen. 2 heavyweights in a slugfest. 15 minutes to go in regulation time. Our second intermission is coming up on the other side of the break. You're watching the 2026 OHL Cup.
Take your game to the next level with the OHL Performance Development Program. Registration is now open for players born between 2009 and 2013. Join OHL coaches and staff for Sunday development sessions beginning April 26th and May 3rd in Kingston, Kitchener, London, Oakville, Ottawa, Sudbury, and Windsor. The program runs through June with 8 on-ice sessions focused on skill development, skating, and hockey IQ. Cost is $775 plus tax for skaters and $550 plus tax for goaltenders. Spots are limited. Register today at OntarioHockeyLeague.com.
Let's see what shots on goal.
It is 1-1 between Detroit HoneyBaked and the Toronto Junior Canadiens after 2 periods here in the OHL Cup Final. Pleased to be joined by Junior Canadiens defenseman Cade O'Rourke. Cade, really not a lot of room out there. How tough is HoneyBaked playing you right now?
Yeah, HoneyBaked's a big, tough team. It's hard to move around them, but it's going to come down to the third period. It's 15 minutes, winner all, so we got to bear down, play well, try to get one now.
This is your second time playing HoneyBaked this season. You saw them earlier in the year at a tournament in Oakville. Are there any things in their game that you can maybe remember from that one and try to put into play in the third period?
Just they like to use your speed a lot. They try to cheat for 2-on-1s and stuff like that, so make sure our D are not pinching and stuff. Make sure we have a high forward and just have a strong third period.
Of course, it's a pretty big deal playing here in the OHL Cup Final after you guys have had a fantastic OHL Cup tournament to get here. What's this whole experience like for you?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a dream come true. I've always wanted to play in OHL Cup Finals, and it's just amazing. The facility is just unreal, how you guys set up. I just want to say thank you to everyone that worked at the tournament, and yeah, it's amazing.
Kate, thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Cade O'Rourke of the Toronto Junior Canadiens. 1 period of regulation time left to go here in the OHL Cup Final. It is 1-1 after 2 periods between the Junior Canadiens and Detroit HoneyBaked as we go back up to Troy and the panel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam, Peter Curtis, Dana McKeel with us, and a much more shots in that second period. I'd say it was more exciting for sure. What do we want to start with off the top? Dana, we'll start with you. What caught your eye in that second period?
What caught my eye was shots in the slot and certainly opportunities, the 2-on-1s. Cade O'Rourke had commented about that as well, and using speed to beat the Detroit HoneyBaked team. Their defense takes up a lot of space, especially with their size. So speed beats size any day of the week. He knows that coming in the third period, that's going to be a key factor.
I mean, HoneyBaked had to play D. They didn't have to in the first period, Dana. They were on the rush. They were taking shots on goal, and all of a sudden, a whole period of having to play D. It shows you what can happen when the Junior Canadiens get some momentum.
I want to factor in that, we'll get to the stats in a second, but faceoffs 24-12 in favor of the JRCs. How much of an impact is that going to have in the third period?
It gives him a whole lot more confidence going into the third period. The first 3, 4, 5 minutes of the third period are going to be decisive factors for either Detroit or for the JRC. Those are the moments where you realize whether you're going to have it or you're not. And that first line for the JRC has got to become impactful. Cash Kawaja's line, Rico Champagne, Braden Grima, they've got to become more impactful in the third.
Well, that power play, they had an opportunity. They didn't get a lot of chances, but you're right, guys. The faceoffs are a big deal now. We're not talking about 51% to 49%. A lot of these highlights you'll see with the Junior Canadiens getting possession first and then being able to dictate what they're going to do here. I love the pass by Perugini here. Everyone thought he was going behind the net, and he decides, I'm going to put it out before I even get there.
Dangerous players getting dangerous chances. And how do you think the goaltenders have been playing? Just a 1-1 game, saw a lot more shots in that second period. Is this feeling like it's been a bit of a goalie duel?
A premier game for 2 of the top premier goaltenders in this tournament. Message with JRC and Carter Nash with Detroit HoneyBaked, and they've been solid in the net. Keep in mind, they've seen a lot of traffic in front of their nets as well.
And I think the fact of the matter is all the shots, most of them are coming from the outside. So the D-core doesn't get a lot of credit when you look at a box score like that and the shots on goal. But a great job by both D-cores to keep everything on the outside.
Okay, a lot more coming up after the break. We'll have Adam Dunphy ringside talking to some more of our U16 Players of the Year. It's 1-1 here in the 2026 OHL Cup Championship game.
Waiting, dropping, Suzuki. Posting in from space, Nick Suzuki. Drop try, Suzuki! OT winner! Unbelievable!
Ontario Hockey League, more than just a game.
Schaefer sprung loose and he scored!
On the ice, the OHL is the #1 provider of talent to the National Hockey League, developing the game's next stars. Off the ice, giving back matters. Since 2010, OHL teams have invested over $41 million in scholarships and raised nearly $8 million annually for charities in minor hockey, shaping futures beyond the rink. Excellence on the ice, opportunity beyond it. The Ontario Hockey League, where the journey begins.
Welcome back inside Mattamy Athletic Center, where it is 1-1 between Detroit HoneyBaked and the Toronto Junior Canadiens after 2 periods here in the OHL Cup Final. And of course, the conclusion of the U16 AAA season for all of these teams here tonight. And we've got a couple more outstanding U16 players from this season. We've got Cole Krotner, the Hockey Eastern Ontario Player of the Year, and Evan Bannister, the OMHA West Player of the Year. And Evan, I'll start with you. A great season for the Credit River Capitals. And you had a great performance here at the OHL Cup with 8 points in 4 games. What was this experience like for you here at the OHL Cup?
Yeah, it was just a great experience. I think I came here last year watching. I watched the 2009 age group, and I was just thinking to myself how cool it would be to play in this tournament. And this year, my team pulled this together, and lucky enough, we came here. So I think it was just a great experience and one of the dreams that I had.
And for you, Cole, a fantastic season. Just got to get the numbers right. 50 points in 31 games for the Ottawa Valley Titans. Just looking back on your season, was there a moment that really stood out for you?
I think in Silver Stick, tying JRC 2-2 was a big accomplishment for our team. I mean, the boys battled hard, and we just came together after that moment.
So now seeing JRC out here today, are you kind of rooting for them a little bit to say that you were able to tie the best?
Yeah, I think you always got to root for your home country, going Canada over U.S.
And then, Evan, for you, the OHL draft is coming up. It's going to be an in-person experience again this year. How excited are you for that?
I'm very excited. It's been one of my dreams growing up to make the OHL, so hopefully I get lucky enough this summer and my dream come true.
And then, Cole, the same for you, the OHL draft. It's going back to in-person this year. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, it's been my dream since I was a little kid, just working hard, so just hope to hear my name that day.
Well, congratulations to both of you on exceptional seasons, and thanks for stopping by here. We'll have the 3rd period of the OHL Cup Final after the break.
Here is Josh Sweetland with more on our U16 Players of the Year. All 7 of them fantastic seasons. Here's Josh Sweetland with more.
Recognize this year's U16 AAA Players of the Year from across the province, celebrating elite talent from every region. From the Alliance, Drew Bate of the London Junior Knights was a dominant offensive force, averaging over 2.5 points per game for the league champions. From the GTHL, Cash Quadja of the Toronto Junior Canadiens combined skill and consistency to lead his team all season long with 63 points over 31 games. From HEO, Cole Krotner of the Ottawa Valley Titans earns recognition as one of the region's top performers. He racked up 50 points over 31 contests. From HNO, Charlie Crane of the Thunder Bay Kings represents Northern Ontario with pride on the back end. From the NOHA, Tayden Smith of the Sudbury Wolves U16 program put together 8 goals and 29 points over 34 games on the back end. From the OMHA West, Evan Bannister of the Credit River Capitals led his team to an OMHA championship, finishing the year with 38 goals over 33 games. And from the OMHA East, offensively gifted forward Kyler Lauder of the Central Ontario Wolves lit up the score sheet with 35 goals over 32 games. These are the best of the best. A big congratulations to each of these outstanding winners.
Those 7 of the top U16 players in all of Ontario. We didn't get to see all of them this week here at the OHL Cup, but we're going to focus on a couple of them. And Dana, we'll start with you. You like Drew Bate with the London Junior Knights.
Yeah, Drew Bate certainly proving that he's a leader in the lineup for the London Junior Knights. He can play it both ways as well, offensively and defensively. But when he's on the ice, teams know it. They know that he comes as a complete package, and he's very impactful offensively.
Yeah, and Peter, you really like Cash Quadra with the Toronto Junior Canadiens, making it all the way to the final here. He's been good tonight.
He's been good all tournament, and what I like is whoever drafts Cash, they're going to have to figure out, do they want him at center, left wing, right wing, on the point, on the power play. He's a player with the potential to play all of these positions, and I love giving the offensive guys love when I see them back check and play D, and that's what you need to win a championship here, and he does both of those things.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to speak to both of those young gentlemen so far in this tournament. Very mature for this age, and you're going to get that when you're talking to a lot of scouts and GMs over the course of the entire year. But yeah, very productive tournaments for them, and really excited to see what they do. So we have more coming up after the break here as we roll on through the second intermission. 1-1 between the Toronto JRCs and Detroit HoneyBaked here in the 2026 OHL Cup Final.
Take your game to the next level with the OHL Performance Development Program. Registration is now open for players born between 2009 and 2013. Join OHL coaches and staff for Sunday development sessions beginning April 26th and May 3rd in Kingston, Kitchener, London, Oakville, Ottawa, Sudbury, and Windsor. The program runs through June with 8 on-ice sessions focused on skill development, skating, and hockey IQ. Cost is $775 plus tax for skaters and $550 plus tax for goaltenders. Spots are limited. Register today at OntarioHockeyLeague.com.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We're just moments away from starting the third period. A 1-1 score between Detroit HoneyBaked and the Toronto Junior Canadiens in the final of the 2026 OHL Cup. It's been a good one so far, Jack, and it sets the scene for what will be a good final 15 minutes. Now, if you're wondering, these teams obviously both undefeated, but both have been in this spot once where they've been tied after 2 periods. Of course, they came out on top, and I really feel both teams are going to be sitting back, kind of just waiting for the other to make that mistake, or at least give that opportunity to go ahead.
Well, and if you're either team for these two squads, you're feeling very confident that you're going to be the group who goes through and picks up the win here. So I think for both these teams, it's important that they feel confident moving forward.
It seems like the goaltenders have really settled in over the course of this game. Of course, Message gives up that one early on, which you could tell probably rattled him a bit, but he settled down. Carter Nash, nothing he could do on the goal that he has surrendered. The goaltenders have been solid.
Yeah, and that's what you expected from these two teams coming into this game, was that you were going to get strong goaltending, you were going to get tight defensive style playing. HoneyBaked got the chances early on the odd man rushes, and Misic was very, very good in honing that down, and the Junior Canadiens were really good at getting those opportunities away from second chance scoring for HoneyBaked. And then the Junior Canadiens we saw pick it up in that second period offensively, start to show that offensive prowess that they've had throughout the course of the entire season. And 15 minutes, a 1-1 game. The way this one's gone, the next goal might be the biggest one of the tournament for either of these two teams, and I think we should expect nothing less between these two teams.
Well, leave it all on the line. There's nothing left to play for after today, as Detroit HoneyBaked is trying to get this OHL Cup title. Their first appearance in the tournament. They go all the way. First time a team from the United States has ever made it to the final of the OHL Cup. Of course, the Toronto Junior Canadiens always figure quite prominently in the U16 loop and at this tournament. You think about the journey it's been for HoneyBaked, though. They talked about it. They've been on the road for 2 weeks. They want this one bad, while the Junior Canadiens want to follow in the footsteps of the team from last year. So 15 minutes up on the board, a 1-1 game. What more could you ask for? We're set to go. Final frame in the OHL Cup Final. The puck is dropped, and Detroit HoneyBaked will gain possession. Jacob Lamontagne gets over to the red line and dumps it in. Kicks out of the corner towards the front of the net, and Cooper Ross was there. You have to think the big guns are going every other shift for both sides the rest of the way. Cade O'Rourke starts the breakout, makes that first pass ahead up the left wing. A shot blocked. Austin Hall will pick it up. Quick transition. Here comes Hall. Gets over the blue line. Went for a shot. He runs right through O'Rourke, who had blocked his shot. O'Rourke in the corner takes a hit as he skies it way up in the air. Glove down here by Wang, and he moved it to Quaja. Took a hit, but made the play. Up to Grima. Grima one-hands it, shoved to the end boards. Puck sits there. Quaja on the scene. Comes out to the side of the net, and it's going to be smothered. And I'm wondering, Jack, if you're the junior Canadiens, are you maybe going to those high flips a little more, because going one-on-one or just trying to drive around this big D has not had too much success?
Well, we saw the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League lose out in the first round of the playoffs for the first time in 3 seasons as they went to 3 straight OHL championships. And what they do on the high flip is they put the pressure on the opposing D. So that time you're putting pressure on the defenseman to make a play. If there's a slight fumble, you can take it, and that creates the space going into the zone. It might be something we see moving forward from this junior Canadiens team with a ton of skill.
Frida hit the boards hard. Moon's shot came off the toe of his stick and went into the corner. Lots of time to make a pass up the left wing. It comes to Vortman, and Jace Vortman will just steer it out. Dumped back in by Moon. Going back to get it is Perugini. Anthony Perugini stops it behind his own goal and will survey the situation. Makes the breakout pass up to Vortman. He's got Long on the far side. Vortman, however, is knocked down by Lepan. Good work by Lepan just to keep him to the perimeter. Another hit along the boards. Arduini lets a shot go. It was blocked. Moved ahead to Frida, off of his stick up to McElmurray. McElmurray able to muscle it on through. Gives the puck off, and there's a shot by Moon, and that one off the blocker of Message. Marco Message got a piece of that one. Kentanella starts it up. He'll go for a skate. Gets the red line. Checked at the blue, but he got the puck into the offensive zone. Nearly put out in front. A backhand towards Wang, who was crashing the net. Wang gets in there. Kadoran, good work with his stick. Keeps it alive in the offensive zone. Rico Champagne will chase it down. Dozark pitches it up the boards. Wang, he's able to cut it off. Suppley goes back with it. And here's Easton Dozark. Saucers it ahead. It got by Fallon. Champagne off the boards, goes back with it for his D, and it's Ross over to O'Rourke. 2.5 minutes gone in the third period of play. Champagne, first one on the puck behind the goal. Put it up the boards. There was Lucas Wang trying to muscle his way out of the corner. Is Kadoran. He'll spin. Alessandro Kadoran's shot on net. Nash made the stop. Maybe just good positioning there as he got his shoulder on that shot towards the net. Backing out now are the junior Canadiens. They want a line change. And it's going to be dumped in to the JRZ zone. Back is Ross. Leaves it here for O'Rourke. Cade O'Rourke gets the red line, and he'll play it to the opposite corner. Junior Canadiens in on the forecheck. Voigt nearby for HoneyBaked. Chipped off the glass by Perugini. Wang back to Perugini. Over now to O'Rourke. Cade O'Rourke with the shot. That one off a stick. I think it hit Lamontagne's stick and went wide of his own goal. At the blue line again, Perugini to O'Rourke. Gets a return pass. Out in front, deflected. He nearly set up Quaja. And now Voigt will take control for HoneyBaked. Liam Voigt takes it to the left side. On his backhand, he pulls up. Looking for an option. Puts it towards the net. It goes into the corner. Passed out here by Hall. A point shot deflected, and it just goes wide of the net. A late change of direction. Another point shot here on goal. Rebound there. Austin Hall scores! Austin Hall with the go-ahead goal here in the third, and it's 2-1 HoneyBaked.
Well, just relentless pressure in the offensive zone by HoneyBaked. After JRC had a couple of looks, couple shots come through, and then that one stopped by Message, and then bounces right to Hall over the stick of Perugini, and he's able to tap it through for his 6th of the tournament. 13 points now for Austin Hall. And with 11 minutes to go in the third, there might not be a goal bigger this season for him.
The go-ahead goal with 11 minutes to go here in the third period. A 2-1 lead for Detroit. And the defense has already been quite smothering throughout the course of the game. I imagine it'll only get more intense as the Junior Canadiens are going to have to try and find an answer for the second time this afternoon. This pass off a stick as it hit Zinke. Voigt will go back. LePan over to Weaver, and Weaver gains the red line and flips the puck in. Picked up now and shot up the boards by Littman. Cove long, not going to take any chances, skies it off the glass. Turning at center ice is Moon, and he'll dump it in. It comes off the end boards, picked up by Perugini. Kadoran will take the pass, and he'll now build up some momentum. Winds it up from deep in his own zone. Alessandro Kadoran on the dump in. Might get there first. He gives Suppley a bump. Coming up the wall on Moon, and he left it there. Nice play made to allow McElmurray to bring it up ice. He was being hounded. Here's Kadoran again. And it's going to be shot in by Arduini. There's Wang. Punches it to Champagne. Champagne. He's getting knocked up against the boards. Puck came loose. Good pressure by Grima. He really hounds the puck. Champagne with no stick throws a big hit there. He'll now look to the bench. He'll be replaced as Dozark will rim it into the offensive zone. The Junior Canadiens trailing by a goal. Here's a 2-on-2. Cash Quaja slows up, leaves it for Grima. Grima threw it towards the front of the net, was hoping for a redirect from Quaja. They're both behind the Detroit net. Quaja gets it to Grima. Quaja trying to get some free space before that puck came towards him. Grima almost had an opportunity at a wraparound, but Dozark was able to deny that chance. Flipped out, and it'll be O'Rourke with a quick push ahead. Big hit thrown by Stevens. Wang got through it. Another hit on Quaja. And the HoneyBaked goes to the flip. They got it as far as the red line, kicked ahead, but it comes right to LePan, and LePan will dump it in. Still lots of time to go in this third period with 8:20 remaining, but you can imagine anxious moments right now for the Junior Canadiens. Quaja leaves it off. Here's Jace Vortman. Cove long, his pass didn't get much on it. Good diving effort by Austin Hall. His clearing attempt is gloved down by Long. And the glove pass will be called here with 8:08 remaining in the third period. A 2-1 Detroit HoneyBaked lead. Crunch time here at the OHL Cup. Once again, we go rinkside to Adam Dunphy.
Well, Mark, the OHL Cup MVP gets the Tim Adams Memorial Trophy. Tim Adams was a GTHL graduate and a longtime coach with the Toronto Marlboros and the Toronto Young Nationals, who sadly passed away after a battle with cancer. Now, the list of players who have won the award is quite impressive. It includes Sean Monahan, Steven Stamkos, and Connor McDavid.
Well, Adam, it doesn't mean you're certainly destined for greatness, but it sets you up pretty well. Big shoes to follow for whoever will be named the MVP of this year's tournament.
And so many guys to pick from. A lot of guys in this game have had phenomenal tournaments. You look at the points leaders, of course, the guys who make impacts in the game in other ways, and a couple really good tournaments from some guys who aren't in this OHL Cup Final. We talked about the London Junior Knights not getting here. Drew Bate, Ryan Bellew from the London Junior Knights. Logan Prudhomme, of course, impressed with his 6'7", 210-pound frame for UCC. And then Tanner Adams, who had a phenomenal tournament, had a hat trick and an assist in the wild card game just to get into the tournament. And then in his first game in the official tournament, he had a hat trick in that as well. He had a strong showing for the Hill Academy.
An abundance of talent in this OHL Cup. All kinds of talent here in this final as Ross had it poked away. Austin Hall's pass was behind Moon. Jackson Zinke back to Kate O'Rourke, and O'Rourke delays. Freed up Ross, up to Zinke. Big hit in the neutral zone. He ran into McElmurray, who held his ground solid. Now a flip, and this one bounces towards the Junior Canadiens net. Reeled in by Cade O'Rourke, and he will slow things down for a moment with 7.5 minutes to go here in the third. Ross up the right wing side. Slowed down here by Long. Couldn't get a pass through, but it kicks over to Quaja. Quaja trying to get it out in front, takes a hit on the end boards. Grima is there as well. Poked here by Littman. And will it be held in at the line? No, it just got out. Despite the efforts there from Cove Long, who reached as far as he could.
What's been really impressive to me in this third period, Mark, has been how physical HoneyBaked has stayed throughout the course of this game. We talked about their schedule, all the travel, the state championship, the national championship, and then right into the OHL Cup, where they had 2 games per day the first 3 days of the tournament. But they've kept their foot on the gas, and they keep hitting everything that moves.
Trying to keep JRC to the perimeter as Grima twists and turns, passes out. Loose puck in the slot taken here and brought ahead by Max Mitchell. His slow dump in is cut off by Rico Champagne, and Champagne delays. Side of the net, Mitchell just continues to hound the Junior Canadiens and was trying to stuff one home. With 6:30 left here in the third period. Here's a rink-wide pass. Long shot fired by Grima, blocked by Lepan. On it was Quaja, and you could see he was just waiting, hoping to hit O'Rourke as he stepped into the zone. Cade O'Rourke takes another hit. Detroit HoneyBaked has never let him by without giving him a bump. Speaking of hits, Champagne run into the corner by LaMontagne. Moon holds on to it and plays it to the corner. A long outlet, knocked down, good hand-eye by Austin Hall. By himself here, one-on-one, make it 1-on-2. Coming back was Ross, and Ross was able to separate him from the puck. That was only briefly. Sharp angle shot out of the corner, glove save made. Message will hold on as Austin Hall has turned it up another level here in the third.
Yeah, knocked down that pass beautifully in the neutral zone, went one-on-one with Cade O'Rourke, who just bought himself some time for Cooper Ross to come back and break that up. But Austin Hall, who now with that goal to put HoneyBaked up, he has the most points in a single tournament by an American born on an American team in this tournament, and he's only 1 point back of being tied for the most points in a single tournament by an American born player.
An icing call going against the Junior Canadiens will bring the face-off back into their zone. It's crunch time, no doubt about it, but looking at the bench, head coach Justin Teakle trying to rally the troops, keep them encouraged here.
You could feel the intensity when we talked to him before the game, and you know that he's not going to let that intensity waver here in the final 6 minutes of this third period, despite his team being down by 1. They're just a shot away here, Mark.
Long, Vortman looking out in front. It was blocked by Dozark. Ross into the slot. There's a high shot. Save was made. Vortman crashes into the netminder. We'll see if we've got a call on the play. The official doing a lot of motioning as Carter Nash did a good job to leave no rebound on that high wrister.
You see the shot come through from Zinke, and then Vortman going to the net. Feels like he got bumped by Carson Hall into Carter Nash, but that's not going to matter. With 5.5 to go in this third period, HoneyBaked's going to the power play, and a lead here in this OHL Cup Final. They haven't had a power play since the first period. They were 0 for 2 with just 1 shot on that man advantage. But a goal here could really separate themselves in the final minutes against JRC.
Jace Vortman takes a seat. Cross-checking was the call. Austin Hall will pass it up to McElmurray. Stick lift by Grima. McElmurray maintains control. There's a wrist shot wide of the net by Dozark, and it'll kick out to Hall. Whether HoneyBaked score here or not, they could take 2 minutes off the board and maintain that 1-goal lead, as time could become the enemy against the Toronto Junior Canadiens. They get a clear, and that will allow them to change the penalty kill personnel. Now Stevens trying to get on through. Kadoran with a stick lift, goes against the grain to leave the puck, and that's a nice play. Frees up Perugini just to send it all the way down. Lepan going back, stolen, And the shot to the net out of the corner. Alexandro Kadorin putting a little bit of a fright into HoneyBaked. They come away unscathed, and it's Austin Hall who drives it into the offensive zone. Left the puck. Coming back again was Kadorin. He's all over the ice here on this penalty kill. Long battles into the corner, and it's quickly whipped all the way down by Perugini.
There goes Kadorin again, chasing it down. He forced the turnover last time. Full head of steam at the end of this penalty kill. He'll peel off, but what a great individual effort. Short-handed. Junior Canadiens have a short-handed goal in this tournament, and HoneyBaked has given up one so far in this tournament.
Mitchell sends it back to the point. Belikov, who got an assist on the go-ahead goal. He was the one that shot it from the point before Hall put in the rebound. Clearing attempt hits a player on the Junior Canadiens bench, and the faceoff will stay in their zone with 3:52 to go and 21 seconds left in the penalty to Vortman.
Really good penalty kill here from the Junior Canadiens as HoneyBaked trying to find their way to get a puck to the net, but you mentioned it, the clock is their friend in this as well. 21 seconds before we're back to 5-on-5, but the Junior Canadiens have done a great job at negating those chances for HoneyBaked.
A face-off win for the Junior Canadiens, and O'Rourke is able to loft it out. LaMontagne will saucer it across to Belikov, and Ivan Belikov, his pass through the skates of Mitchell. O'Rourke is there, puts it back to Ross. Final seconds of the penalty kill for JRC, and Quaja goes in after it. Nash shot it up the boards. They keep it moving. Out of the box comes Vortman. He'll dash across the ice to be replaced. Back to 5-on-5. Long pass up to Quaja. Quaja goes over to Grima. Champagne in the slot. Rico Champagne along the ice. The backhander couldn't find the net. And HoneyBaked will try and clear it out. Knocked down by a high stick. Junior Canadiens might as well just touch it. Don't want to let the clock run away here. A little over 3 minutes left, and there was the opportunity to find a man in the slot that the Junior Canadiens have been looking for.
Well, you got your top line on the ice with Grima, Quaja, and Champagne. And Quaja worked it off to Grima on the far boards. And then Grima gets it in for Champagne, who puts it in front. Looking like he wanted to get a deflection from Cash. Quaja couldn't get it there, but a good look for the Junior Canadiens, who have 3:05 to tie this game up.
Lucas Wang was able to play it down into the Detroit zone. HoneyBaked, though, starts a breakout, and it's carried up to the line and dumped in by McElmurray. Stevens coming across, trying to get to this puck, gives a bump to Littman. Heading to the net is Hall if they can get it there. He's undetected in front. It pops loose, but it's taken by the Junior Canadiens, a 3-on-2. Kadorin over the line for Wang. Looking across, Perugini, Kadorin the shot. It was blocked as Lepan blocked it in front of his own net and clears it out, and he's got the perfect draw weight on this one. Doesn't go all the way for icing. 2:30 remains here in the third. Junior Canadiens deflection, knocked down by Dozark. Hall will pick it up. Austin Hall gets it on through. Falling down, however, on the spin was Moon, and it's taken now by Jackson Zinke. Zinke stops. Junior Canadiens want to regroup and look to advance up ice. Already waving to the bench is Message. He'll get the call there very soon, you would have to think, as we move to the final 2 minutes here in the third. Detroit HoneyBaked leads 2-1 here in the OHL Cup Final. Quaja over the line. Ross to O'Rourke. O'Rourke into the corner, gets it back. O'Rourke goes across as he was trying to hit Cash Quaja with a pass. Quaja able to play it back out to the point. To the bench goes Message. Extra attacker out there. It's Quaja, spins. Quaja waits. Can he get a shot off? He'll fire it off a body. It hits Champagne, pops behind the net. Back to Quaja with the shot, and that one didn't miss by much, just off the outside of the net. Vortman back to the point. Here's O'Rourke now, down to the goal line. O'Rourke gets a return pass from Grima. Quaja's up high right now. Takes the feed. Quaja holds. Gets O'Rourke. O'Rourke into the slot. Tied up was Vortman. HoneyBaked will clear. Will this go the length for icing? It will. 1:11 to go.
Well, a great look there for Cash Quaja to tie this game at 2 from just inside the near circle. Tried to bank it in off the mask of Carter Nash, but he got it up and out. And Detroit HoneyBaked get a big stop from their goaltender. And now with 1:11 to go in the third period, the Junior Canadiens calling a timeout with Message on the bench, but a good chance here as we see it again. Quaja threw this in front. Great job by Champagne not to touch that puck and get called for a high stick on the puck. And then that led to the Quaja chance where he tried to pick the top near corner, got it a little too close to the middle of the net, and Nash was able to get that off his mask and away from pressure, as Quaja was an inch or two away from tying this game at 2 apiece.
So the timeout called. Justin Tiekle has the troops over and trying to draw up the equalizer. 1:11 is what remains here. Face-off will be the left of Carter Nash. Looks like Braden Grima will get the face-off assignment, and he'll go up against Cash McElmurray. All set to go. Draw one by HoneyBaked. Dozark behind the net, off the glass, not out, kept in by Ross. Nice play there. Jace Vortman back to Cooper Ross, across now to Cade O'Rourke. O'Rourke into the corner, thrown cross crease, can't get a connection. Ross once again to O'Rourke. O'Rourke goes back with it to Quaja. Quaja's got to hold this puck in. Good work as he gets it into the corner. There's Vortman for Grima. Grima trying to get on through. Puck is loose, cleared down the ice towards the empty net, just wide. Oh, it didn't miss by much, missed by inches. An icing call.
Austin Hall was looking for his second of this third period into the empty net. The Junior Canadiens get the icing, but a good look there as it didn't miss by much on that far post. But just this HoneyBaked defense has been relentless in their own zone, not allowing the Junior Canadiens to get in front of the net.
Vortman across, one-timer, Quaja, and Nash got the blocker on it. A big-time save with 30 seconds to go. Vortman to the point. It's across now to O'Rourke, into the corner for Grima. Loose puck up the boards. Can HoneyBaked get it out? They do. Austin Hall to the empty net. He scores! Austin Hall, the empty netter, and that should do it.
Continuous, relentless pressure from HoneyBaked on the Junior Canadiens in their own zone. And they get a clear. There was a switch off at the blue line, and the Junior Canadiens couldn't get the extra skater to backfill on the near boards as Cade O'Rourke worked his way into the middle and the puck came up. HoneyBaked won the battle like they've done so often in this championship game. And Austin Hall puts it into the empty net, and with 21 seconds to go, a timeout by Matthew Romaniski to talk it over and explain to his team how they're going to handle these final 21 seconds before presumably being crowned as OHL Cup champions.
No player this season in 15U in the United States put up more points than Austin Hall, and he's put his stamp on the OHL Cup Final. 2 goals in the third period, and now just moments away from capturing the trophy.
And we'd be remiss not to bring up that blocker save by Carter Nash. If there's 1 or 2 guys on your team, if you're the Junior Canadiens, to get that one-time look in the far circle, it's Cash Quaja. And Carter Nash, who had the mass save on him earlier, came across with the blocker, punched it out, and kept the game a 2-1 lead for HoneyBaked before Austin Hall on his second chance at the empty net.
Puck dropped, pushed ahead here by the Junior Canadiens. They'll try and press on. 15 seconds to go. It battles into the corner. They pass it back out to Ross. Low shot. It was blocked in front. Hall, another chance to clear. Can he give him the hat trick? He goes for the empty net again, and it will miss by a few feet. As Austin Hall nearly with the third period natural hat trick, as we get a little pushing and shoving here with just 6 seconds to go, as the Junior Canadiens letting a little frustration show.
You can feel it now, Mark, with just over 6 seconds, like you mentioned, left in the third period. And the Junior Canadiens feeling that frustration, being so close, down by 1, tying it at 1, going into the third period. 4 minutes into the third, Austin Hall scores and then puts in the empty netter with 21 seconds left. to make it a 3-1 lead for HoneyBaked.
Could be the final face-off here to the left of Carter Nash. Detroit HoneyBaked win it, and they'll clear it out. For the first time, the OHL Cup is going to the USA. Detroit HoneyBaked go all the way in 2026. The celebration is on as the officials look to separate a few players here at the horn. Their first time in the OHL Cup, and Detroit HoneyBaked make it one to never forget as they are the 2026 champions. And that frustration, Cove Long going after one of the HoneyBaked players at the horn. Everyone will be separated, and you're not going to ruin this moment for Detroit HoneyBaked. Quite the journey, the marathon of a season concludes with an OHL Cup title.
Well, how impressive was their showing at this tournament? Without Henry Buttweiler, without Dylan Delgado, guys playing through injuries. They've been on the road for multiple weeks here with the state tournament, the national tournament, and then here at the OHL Cup. And Detroit HoneyBaked wanted to get the Junior Canadiens back after their only matchup of the season back in January at the Oakville tournament. HoneyBaked got what they wanted, a win over the Junior Canadiens and an OHL Cup title in 2026.
The officials, to their credit, did a great job separating the players there and jumping in at the horn. Can understand the emotions at an all-time high here. For one side, pure elation, and for the Toronto Junior Canadiens, a hockey club who unfortunately has suffered some heartbreak this season. They were the finalists in the GTHL, come so close to winning their league, and come so close to winning the OHL Cup.
Yeah, you lose in 5 games to the Vaughan Kings in the GTHL Championship, one of the highest rated teams all season long, whether it was in Canada or in the OHL Cup rankings. They were one of the top teams at this level. And to have the GTHL title fall the wrong way, thought they were going to get their chance to lift a trophy here at the OHL Cup, but fall just short, with Austin Hall taking over in the 3rd period for Detroit HoneyBaked, scoring the go-ahead goal, which would be eventually the game winner, and sealing it into the empty net. And this HoneyBaked team, who has been battling through playing so much hockey over the last month, are able to cap it off, being the first American team to win the OHL Cup and put on a performance of the ages. And they'll be a well-remembered team for how much resilience they went through over the course of not the season, the whole season, but especially this last month without some key players.
You talk about Austin Hall. It's one thing to be an elite talent. It's another thing to be a big-time, big-moment player, and he's showing that he's got all that with the 2 goals, the game winner here in the 3rd period. Let's turn things over to PA announcer Cam Sterling as the post-game presentations commence. Detroit HoneyBaked, your 2026 OHL Cup champions.
The game for the Detroit HoneyBaked is number 17, Austin Hall. The Gatorade All-Star team is represented by the top 3 forwards, the top 2 defensemen, and the top goalie from this year's OHL Cup tournament. Here to present the Gatorade All-Star Team Awards on Gatorade's behalf is Bailey Kozai. The top forwards are from the Toronto Junior Canadiens, Cash Kweja. From the Detroit HoneyBaked, Austin Hall. And from the Toronto Junior Canadiens, Braden Grima. The top defensemen are from the London Junior Knights, Ryan Beaulieu. And from the Toronto Junior Canadiens, Cade O'Rourke. And the top goalie is from the Detroit HoneyBaked, Carter Nash. The tournament MVP of the OHL Cup is presented with the Tim Adams Memorial Trophy. Tim was a graduate of the GTHL and a long-time coach. Tim was unfortunately taken from far too soon after a long and courageous battle with cancer. Here to present this year's MVP award are members of Tim's family. This year's tournament MVP from the Detroit HoneyBaked, Austin Hall. Here to present the OHL Cup Championship medals and trophy are Director of Strategy and Communications of the Greater Toronto Hockey League, Stephanie Karate, and Commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League, Brian Crawford. And now the 2026 OHL Cup Silver Medalist will be presented to the Toronto Junior Canadiens. Number 4, Massimo Catanella. Number 8, Cash Kuwaja. Number 9, Anthony Perugini. Number 11, Ryder Muir. Number 14, Jace Fortman. Number 16, Alessandro Caterin. Number 22, Cooper Ross. Number 24, Cade O'Rourke. Number 25, Lucas Wang.
Are we done with this?
I don't know. I'll ask.
Number 29, Zidane JC. Number 31, Marco Message. Number 55, Jack Woo. Number 77, Jude Littman. Number 79, Alston Wang. Number 88, Callum Mason. Number 90, Rico Champagne. Number 91, Cove Long. Number 93, Jackson Zinke. Number 95, Sebastian Arduini. Number 96, Braden Grima. And number 98, Alex Shue. And now the 2026 OHL Cup gold medals will be presented to the Detroit HoneyBaked. Number 5, Max Lappin. Number 9, Jacob Lamontagne. Number 11, Reed Fallon. Number 13, Easton Dozark. Number 15, Anders Auger. Number 16, Dominic Frida. Number 17, Austin Hall. Number 21, Henry Buttweiler. Number 22, Dylan Delgado. Number 23, Liam Voigt. Number 29, Nolan Jardine. Number 39, Carter Nash. Number 43, Brady Suppley. Number 48, Max Mitchell. Number 50, Ivan Belikov. Number 53, Derek Moon. Number 66, Liam Weaver. Number 86, Blake Stevens. And number 96, Cash McElmurray. And now, would the captain of the Detroit HoneyBaked please come forward to accept the OHL Cup? Ladies and gentlemen, your 2026 OHL Cup champions, the Detroit HoneyBaked.
Yep. Derek Moon's mother right there on the ice.
The third period for you. You come into that third period tied 1-1 with the Toronto Junior Canadiens. You get both goals in that third period to deliver Detroit HoneyBaked the championship. What was going through your head in those final moments?
Well, we've been saying all year long we're a third period team. In States, we were down 3-1, came back, and won 4-3. We're a third period team. We just need to get pucks out and get pucks on net, and it'll come. It'll just come. That's what you're saying.
It's been a long 2 weeks for you guys. You've been on the road. You've been away from home. How excited are you not just to go back home, but now you're going back home as an OHL Cup champion?
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't even describe it. I can't wait to go sleep and be honest. Can't wait to go sleep.
Well, I won't take up any more of your time, Austin. Go and celebrate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Austin Hall, the OHL Cup MVP. Back to you, Troy.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam. One more time here with Dana and Peter. And gentlemen, Austin Hall's tournament, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points in 7 games as HoneyBaked went 7-0 to win the OHL Cup in their first ever time appearing in the tournament. Just a great game. Congratulations to the Toronto Junior Canadiens as well on a fantastic season. We'll get to the third period highlights, or game highlights here. And gentlemen, we'll start. What did you see down the stretch here, Dana, in that third period?
Certainly Austin Hall in the third period, and the momentum coming into the third period, Detroit HoneyBaked really picked up on that, and Hall scoring that winning goal. But then when it came to the insurance goal, and as we see Toronto Junior Canadiens popping their goal there, we saw that the Detroit HoneyBaked team was picking up on that momentum. We talked about this in the second period intermission, that whoever comes out with the momentum in the third, chances are they're going to get the win. And that was the case with Detroit HoneyBaked and with Austin Hall. Keep in mind, Austin Hall is the third time in this tournament he's been named game MVP and now the tournament MVP as well. He's done an outstanding job, and certainly a credit to Matthew Romaniski, the head coach of the Detroit HoneyBaked team, for having this team prepared to play in this tournament after such a long schedule.
Yeah, as we take a quick look here at the final stats of this game, shots 24-18. And Peter, this is really the first time in this tournament that Toronto hasn't had a whole ton of shots. They were outshot for the first time. And first period, I think it was, 2 shots, because they spent a lot of time on the penalty kill. But was that one of their better games than just facing a superior opponent here today? What were your thoughts on that?
We were very surprised with how they came out for the third period, because they grabbed this game in the second period, and all of us were watching saying, now we've got a game here. 5-on-5, something in that third period. I don't know how Detroit HoneyBaked did it. Remember, last week they were at the USA Hockey Nationals in a very intense tournament, so very surprised as how the JRC came out in the third period, because we really thought they were ready to take over.
And Dana, you and I were here for the semifinals yesterday, and obviously a long tournament for all these teams. Were there teams that, you would like to give a shout out to that didn't make the final that played phenomenal tournaments?
Well, Upper Canada College and London Junior Knights. Junior Knights, outstanding. Also like to comment on that first game that we saw Quinty Redhawks taking out Vaughan Kings. That was huge. Yep. And a lot of the OHL scouts, general managers, Mark Hunter was there, George Burnett, watching what was going down with that key game in that first day of the tournament.
Yeah, and Peter, now that we have 3 USA teams at this tournament who all had really good tournaments. HoneyBaked obviously winning it, Detroit Little Caesars getting to the semifinals, and TPH had a great tournament as well. We're unsure on how they were going to compete with a team constructed of players from different areas, but what does this mean for this tournament moving forward?
Well, now with the OHL draft in June, this tournament can be held later. And the great news is now that the USA hockey teams, they can go to their national championships and still come here and play in the OHL Cup. This is humongous. We always wanted them. And I mean, those folks on the other side of the border in Michigan, they're like Canadian. I'm sorry. They live a hockey lifestyle. We see them all the time at the tournaments here. So this is great. We wanted the American teams here. The Canadian teams asked for it. And yeah, the first year they win it, I know what the Canadian teams are thinking next year, right? Especially after this season of Canada not doing well against Americans. But we wanted the best on best. And now there's a little bit more cooperation with Major, Junior, and CAA. I would love to see more American teams come here. They are all quality programs, and that is what this tournament is about.
And when we talk about the number of teams, too, that showed up at this tournament, we originally started with 28 because of the wildcard games, got it down to 25. In past seasons, just the 20 teams, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into all the details, but fantastic to see this many teams participating and getting one more shot at a championship. And now that the season's wrapped up, teams and players are looking forward to the OHL draft. Are there a couple players that you're looking forward to that maybe bumped up their draft stock in this tournament, Dana?
Well, I think Evan Bannister being from the Credit River squad, and certainly he's amped up his profile tremendously. And no doubt Cato Rorick is going to be a big pick in the OHL once he gets that opportunity to be drafted.
Anyone from you that bumped their stock?
You know what? I like the fact we had some new teams here. Credit River won the OMHA championship. So, yeah, we've got the Marlies, the JRC, and but some of the teams from, including Ottawa, they had 2 teams in the tournament plus 2 in the wild card. So that's fantastic that you're seeing this growth. And I did like the prep schools. It was a good rivalry, right? Like the UCC team, Dana, you watched a lot of them. It was a really good rivalry. They showed they belonged here as well. So we went from 20 to 25 this year, and certainly you can make an argument for 30 now with you're seeing the class of what everyone can bring.
And I just want to add Logan Prudhomme as well, playing 6'7" forward, playing for Upper Canada College, and that's a brand right there, Logan Prudhomme.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Cato O'Rourke being a 2011 born player and all that he's done at this tournament. Another 2011 born player, Bowden Gorenstein for the UCC Blues, had a fantastic tournament as well. But that'll do it for our coverage here from the Mattamy Athletic Center. A 3-1 victory for Detroit HoneyBaked over the Toronto Junior Canadiens to claim the 2026 OHL Cup Championship. On behalf of
Wow. What position do you play? Wow. Very good. All right, Pete. We'll
someone when the weather's better.
Yes, we'll have to do a patio or something. You know, pleasure to meet you. I'm sure next time I talk to you, you'll be like that.